Hello and welcome back to Serie Spotlight. This is episode 121. We're your hosts Jake
and Matt,
here to cover all the events of Matchday 31 in Serie A. We have just come back from holiday where we watched Cagliari Atalanta in the flesh. And boy, what a game that was.
Yes, bro, we were blessed. We were fucking lucky because it took us a while to decide which match we actually want to watch. And we were actually going to opt out of the Cagliari Atalanta game because we thought Cagliari were going to get smacked. But we were there.
We were going to go watch the one before against Lecce, 1-1. Lecce, was it?
Yes, or Verona.
Verona,
I think. Where they equalized.
When Suleiman scored.
Exactly.
Yes.
So that would have been good too, but a win against one of the top 7 teams in Serie A was unexpected, and it was perfect, man.
Yeah.
Shall we just tell them everything that happened?
I think we can save it. Let's just do the formalities and then get into it immediately because there's so much to say that once we start, we're not going to stop.
Yeah.
So the first thing we have to address is our goal of the week, and this went to Politano for his incredible first-time volley.
It has to be.
That ended up perfectly into the top corner. I have no idea how the hell he did that. That was incredible. It was quite a tough one though, because Zielinski also smacked in a brilliant goal that very same game, as long with Osimhen breaking Ronaldo's jumping record. It wasn't the best jump record.
No, the best jump. I think it's
Tomori.
Yeah, Tomori is the best in Serie A. The one that he broke, I believe, was Ronaldo's against Sampdoria,
Exactly,
but he didn't. He didn't break Ronaldo's against United for Real Madrid in the Champions League.
No,
Serie A, we're
saying.
But he literally jumped over him, dog.
Yeah.
He jumped over the defender.
Jumped over the defender. And the defender is a big boy.
Yeah, he landed on his face and cried about it.
Obviously.
Ciao, Victor.
Imagine he's wearing that mask. He lands on it. His cheekbone's made of metal. Poor guy.
Yeah.
There was also Colpani's goal. These all happened in the same game, by the way. Colpani
Crazy, man.
Bent it beautifully after a few stepovers, curled into the back of the net.
Our favorite commentator, Mr. Kendrick, was like, "What is happening? What is happening this game?"
Cambiaghi scored a juicy goal for Empoli against Torino. It was a lovely one. And Pulisic as well makes it for his curler in the first, I think, 4, 5, 6 minutes of the game, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Opening stages of the game.
Absolutely brilliant, bro. Politano's was the goal of the week, but was that your favorite of the slot?
Yes, because firstly, it couldn't have been more top bins. If we're talking top bins, it was literally the epitome of top bins. But I really liked Zielinski's as well, because when you smash a bullet in from distance off the crossbar, it's always so aesthetically pleasing, and even just the whole storyline of Zielinski, quite cool. And I thought Colpani's was pretty fucking cool as well.
Wicked.
But for me, it was between Politano and Zielinski, and Politano easily took it, in my opinion. What a goal, man.
Incredible. We've got Coppa Italia results. I believe we addressed the Fiorentina-Atalanta result in the previous episode, but we'll just mention it again. Fiorentina beat Atalanta 1-0, while Juventus took on Lazio away from home at the Olimpico and actually beat them 2-0 shortly after losing to them 1-0, and this was under Tudor both games. So yes, Fiorentina and Juve have slight advantages over there going into the second leg of the Coppa Italia. Stay tuned for more.
Yeah, and we also have Europa League and Conference League action coming up this Thursday, so tomorrow/today, depending when you're listening to this. The Italian teams involved are Liverpool against Atalanta away from home. Very tough fixture for Atalanta, that's at 9 p.m. Milan, Roma, which I think every Serie A fan is going to be watching that one. That is also at 9 p.m. What a shame, because these are 2 games that I would love to watch. And same day at 6:45, it's Victoria Pilsen against Fiorentina in the Conference League. What are your predictions for these, bro?
That's a nice little starter there in the Conference League. My predictions...
I'm going to be at the gym, bro. But they show the games at
while
the
you're
gym.
Running on the treadmill.
I don't do cardio, bro.
You did all the cardio in Sardegna.
I checked 19k steps a day. 19,000 steps a day we did.
Damn. Could have played.
Literally.
Couldn't have shifted they all up. I think. My predictions. I predict Fiorentina to slightly edge it, but not as convincingly as they would hope. I'm thinking something like 2-1.
In Pilsen?
In Pilsen.
Okay.
In Pilsen.
When in Pilsen, huh?
Yeah, I think Liverpool will beat Atalanta 2-0. Unfortunately. And Milan-Roma is a weird one, man. I think Milan get it done at San Siro, though. Olimpico will be a different story. And I'm kind of fearful as a Milan fan myself, having the second leg in the Olimpico, because we've seen how Milan can be quite rattled at the start of a second leg fixture, and the Olimpico is quite the vibe, as we all know. So the Roma players are going to be all for it.
Yeah, if Milan want to get it done, they have to get it done in the first leg.
Yeah.
Because then there's the Inter fixture, there's the Juve fixture, and Milan, they just came off a match against Lecce. And now this weekend they play Sassuolo, so they can even afford to rest players. So they need to get it done while they're still fresh now. And then the Olimpico, maybe if they take a super pragmatic approach or a cautious approach, and a draw would do. What Milan would ideally want here is a victory to a point where a draw will do in the next game.
Yeah.
I think Liverpool will get past Atalanta, and I think it would be quite easy for them. I think they win both games. I don't think Atalanta get a single draw out of that. Liverpool are great, man. Liverpool are excellent. They're excellent.
There might be too much for them, and Atalanta would be demoralized after the Cagliari game.
Yeah. However, they have nothing else left to play for, man. They're basically down for Champions League. They're not getting Champions League, although the 5th spot is up for grabs. We'll get into that later.
Yeah.
I think tomorrow, I think Pilsen and Fiorentina will draw, but I think Fiorentina will go through.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I think the second leg is when Fiorentina will get it done as well, to be honest with you. I think it will be a narrow win or a draw in the first leg.
Yeah.
We'd like to take a moment to thank our boys and girl for making this happen, and to apologize for the chaos that happened in the group chat yesterday. No fault of ours, but totally the fault of Cesco, who we will be going live with tomorrow for a watch along in the Europa League between Milan and Roma. It's our first ever watch along. If you're hearing this in the future at some point, there should be footage on YouTube. On it, so we should have snippets, and it'll be a lot of fun. So
we'll also have some other people with us.
Yes.
Yet to confirm Pans, but probably he's a friend of mine, Milan fan, born and bred, and maybe even Adam Ryan, who will be a neutral in this case. But yeah, even for those of you that don't listen to our podcast and like Maltese media, Adam Ryan is a big figure in Maltese media, so that could be cool.
And he has 2 first names, which is always cool.
That's always sick.
The people who make this show happen, thank you very much for your subscription, and thanks to you guys, we have all our software subscriptions paid for every month. You guys literally cover the video production of the show. You guys are Alan, Andrew, Andy, Anthony, Tim, Campbell, Slooge McNoodle, Lena, David, Kyle, Luca, Matthias, Mint, Michael, Ed, and Tonna. Now please hashtag who is Slooge McNoodle, because we still don't know who Slooge McNoodle is. But thank you, Slooge, for the contribution.
And if you guys are new here, don't forget to like us wherever you find us on social media, be it Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube. Subscribe, do all that lovely stuff, and drop us a rating wherever you're listening, be it Spotify, Apple, Google, whatever you kids are using nowadays. Everything is very much appreciated. If you want to become a patron, it's just $3.99 a month, and we would be eternally grateful, and you'll have your name called out in every single episode and be added to a very manic yet knowledgeable group chat. Shall we jump into the rundown, brother?
Let's.
So we normally start with the biggest game, so we should be starting with the Roma derby, but we weren't at the Roma derby, so we're going to start with Cagliari 2, Atalanta 1, in what was the biggest upset of this weekend. Just a fantastic end-to-end game. So grateful that we got to be there, bro. The second game we're going to be covering is Roma 1, Lazio 0 in the Derby della Capitale. Not the most exciting Derby della Capitale, but a Derby della Capitale between 2 new managers. The last Derby della Capitale that was played this season was with 2 completely different managers, was it Sarri and Mourinho. Now it's Tudor and De Rossi naturally. But so both of them took a bit more of a cautious approach. Roma came out the victors. Udinese 1, Inter 2. A last-minute goal by Davide Frattesi is what got it done over there for Inter. Milan 3, Lecce 0. Milan trying out something a little bit new. Pulisic attacking mid and Chukwueze out on the right. Very offensive, very nice, and a good victory. A clean one after Kristovic got sent off early, allowing Milan to play against 10 men for an entire half. Juve 1, Fiorentina 0. 3 disallowed goals for Juve in this match. It's not usual that Juve put 4 in during a game. So obviously 3 of them had to be cancelled. Monza 2, Napoli 4. 4 spectacular goals in this match. And Napoli, with those goals, looking a bit like their former selves after a disappointing 3-0 loss to Atalanta earlier last week. Frosinone 0, Bologna 0. Disappointing result for Bologna. Is the kitchen getting too hot? We'll discuss soon. Empoli 3, Torino 2, and another huge upset over here. And this happened before the Cagliari game, so pressure really was on over there. But spectacular win for Empoli. Davide Nicola just working his magic again. Verona 1, Genoa 2. Verona opened the scoring through Bonazzoli, but Genoa did well to hold their own. And the inevitable Albert Goodmanson getting himself a goal again, albeit a tap-in. Salernitana 2, Sassuolo 2. Devastating result for Sassuolo. Finally, Salernitana got to cheer about something, and that was a last-minute equalizer. Sassuolo in trouble, bro.
Sassuolo blew a 2-0 lead with Ballardini on the bench. You can take Dionisi out of Sassuolo, but you can't take Sassuolo out of Sassuolo.
That's it. It's in their DNA, brother. Exactly. It's in their DNA. And that was, at least before the Cagliari game, a bit of a relief. Like, okay, Sassuolo didn't get a fucking victory over there.
But the Empoli result, everyone was talking about. Everyone was like, Empoli won.
It was huge where we got to go. By the way, just a quick kit update.
I won the arm wrestling.
No, proof. We didn't.
Proof.
He's showing, for those of you listening to Spotify, like the commuters you are, he's pointing at his Viola kit right now. We didn't arm wrestle.
Then how do I have the kit?
Because if we arm wrestled, first it would have been streamed, and secondly, I'd be wearing a Viola kit or a Viola kit because we were corrected in Sardegna. Like, where's the accent, bro? It's like, you're right, there's no accent, so it's Viola.
I was like, what kit do you want? Viola. He was like, Viola. I'm like, that's the color, man.
My kit is from last season. So I'm like, if I get Viola on it, it's just gonna be fucking weird. So I went for the top scorer of Serie B last season, La Pagol, as we like to call him. So in Jake's old kit, he got Pavoletti because Esalametti and minute 94, if you know, you know. And Jake bought a kit because he's saucing out, balling out. And yeah, Viola, who waved to us,
yes,
by the way.
Just you wait about how this game went, guys.
Yes.
So I thought I had bought our tickets in the Curva.
Wait. Okay. So Cagliari 2, Atalanta 1. The previous encounter between these two sides was Atalanta 2, Cagliari 0. This is how the day started for us. We woke up, had some breakfast, went to the Cagliari store, got our kits, spoke to the lovely guy, Francesco, shout out Francesco
from the Cagliari
from the Cagliari store, lovely guy. We spent ages talking to him. I'm really glad that that toaster that you print the names on took a while to heat up, because we got to know Francesco. He's a top guy, very knowledgeable about Serie A and Serie B and about Cagliari, so that was great. Got our kits and we fucking headed out. Had our spritzes, had our meal. We were drunk, and this gentleman approaches us at the table and goes, Viola. Remember, that's how he approached us. And he basically tried to sell us stuff. We said no. And then he's like, just give me €1, man, you know? So we gave
when
him...
they give up, they just bring
they're like, God, they stop being like fun, playful, love. Like, give me something, bro, I'm starving. Like, so we gave him €1, €2, and he's like, okay, I give you this for luck. So he gave us a bean.
Yeah, apparently this is a fava bean. But I googled fava beans and they don't look like this.
No.
The reason me and Matthew still both have our fava beans is...
Well, he told us this is for luck. And we're like, oh, okay, we're going to the game, so we'll keep it. Okay, we totally forgot about the beans.
In our pockets.
In our pockets and like our jeans. And we head to the stadium. We're so drunk, man. We're drinking Aperol spritzes in the sun, drunk.
And then the Sardegnian beer, Ichnuza outside.
Ichnuza. We're pissing so like fucking dogs. We were pissing, bro. And we get to the stadium and we're trying to find our seats. And we should have been behind the goalpost because Jake specifically booked for us to be with the curva. That was the whole thing. We're gonna be shirtless with our kids. Oh, it's gonna be crazy. Like,
however, it must be said that I went through the entire process of buying the tickets in Italian, and my Italian, as we know, is not okay. It's not too bad. We got by, but it's not great at all. Especially, it shouldn't be trusted when buying things. Definitely, especially tickets. The information in English, especially about Cagliari Stadium, the Unipol Domus, is pretty much non-existent, and it's the first time Reddit was useless to me. So I ended up the whole thing was, do I want to pay 50 euros or 90 euros?
Yeah,
I went for the
we chose
90 tickets, yes, and I thought that would just mean that we're at the bottom tier instead of the tier above.
Yeah, closer to the...
Yeah, but it turns out it was a completely different story.
So what happened is, so they put us through the gate. They're like, this is your gate. And we're like, shouldn't that be our gate? Because it should be behind the goalpost. Like, no, this is your gate. And we're like, oh, fuck, man. And we go up to what we believe are our seats. And we're like, you know what, man, this is low-key better. Like, what a view kind of thing. And I'm like, bro, I don't think these are our fucking seats, man. I really don't think these are our seats. And you're like, bro, for sure these are our seats. I'm like, the 3-letter combination is different. It was like FGH and not FEH. So I asked this guy and he's like, here are your seats. Like, you lucky bastard. And bro, when I tell you we are 1 row away from the Cagliari bench, we are literally 1 row away from the Cagliari bench.
Yeah.
So the players come out, they're sitting on the bench. We could have touched them.
It was literally like us on the 2nd row, in front of us on the 1st row, the Primavera.
Exactly.
And then in front of the Primavera, the bench of fucking Cagliari. So we haven't read the lineups yet, but of course Lapadula, Luvumbo and Viola didn't start that game.
Yeah.
So like you could see them so close. I could see the texture in Viola's hair to the point that I'm fully aware now that he straightens his hair with a clipper. Like
we
before,
noticed the laser marks on Viola's face, so that he got his face tattoos lasered off.
By the way, he no longer has face tattoos.
Man,
I was disappointed to find out.
Lapadula's hair is fantastic.
Lovely.
Like
with
great,
volume on it.
Great hair, man. And then we're lucky as fuck. We totally forgot about our beans.
Yeah.
And then we're chilling, and there's Petagna walking, and I'm like, Dai Petagna, woohoo!
Like, come on, injured Petagna. Come on,
baby. You can do it, bro. Though damn well he's injured. Like, and when I tell you Petagna sits right next to me, Petagna comes and he sits right next to us. We have a selfie and everything.
Yeah.
We'll post it. Crazy stuff. And then obviously, I'm kind of spoiling the walkthrough of the game, but the 3 players that scored are on our Fanta.
Yeah.
Augello is one of them. I've never
Matthew
started
played
him.
Augello on his Fanta and he fucking scores. Can you believe the bean, dude?
Bro. We get home, we get to our apartment after the game, after the luckiest day of our lives. I empty my pockets, I'm like, and I just pull out the fava bean. The fava bean, because the thing is, we were way too lucky.
It's true.
It was way too good. Something extraordinary had to happen to us, and the extraordinary thing is
Yeah.
The fava bean.
But okay, so we managed to get into the stadium without printing physical tickets because on the
That was a whole
on the
fucking
PDF
thing.
it says it's very important to print your tickets or entrance will be rejected.
It basically said print the tickets or you'll die and go to hell.
Exactly, that's what it literally said on the ticket. And we couldn't find it. Was Sunday, like we couldn't find anywhere to print it, and we showed up with the ticket on our phone, and no problem, they let us in.
We asked 3 different people whether it's okay. They all told us it's okay, but the people we asked were all a bit weird.
I think they all had learning disabilities. So there's that. We managed to get in. Our seats were crazy. Right next to the bench and the Primavera right in front of us. Cagliari won. Petagna took a photo with us and sat next to Matthew. It was just crazy lucky, man. Yeah, so now we're believers of the bean, basically.
The bean is never gonna let us down. But okay, so we told you about our experience. Let's jump into this a little bit. So Atalanta had a bit of a mixed week, a very mixed week, because they trashed Napoli 3-0 away in Serie A. And then they lost the first leg of the Coppa Italia semi-final 1-0 to Fiorentina on Wednesday in a dreadful fucking performance. And then they lost 2-1 to relegation-threatened Cagliari. Now they face Liverpool on Thursday. Scalvini is out for a month, but the Ketelari returned to the bench after injury. The hosts missed Pavoletti, Mancosu and Petagna. And I have a note here saying who sat next to us for the match. But we already told you that. So 4-3-3 formation for Cagliari, and I have to say, when looking at the formation, we knew exactly what this is going to be. A game of 2 halves. Scuffè in goal, and a backline of Augello, Dossena, Mina and Nandez. Makumbu, Deola and Sulemana forming the midfield 3, and Gaetano, Shomorodov and Oristagno up front. On the other hand, it was a 3-4-1-2 for Gasperini's men, with Carnesecchi in goal and a backline of Toloi, Jimcity and Kolasinac. Hatteber on the right, Zappacosta on the left, and the midfield 3 of De Roon, Ederson and Cope Miners, playing behind Scamacca and Lookman. Now just to go through the play-by-play very quickly, in the 13th minute, Scamacca got his second in 2 games after finishing off a low cross by Lookman, and over there we're like, here we go, bro. This is exactly what we thought was going to happen. It's going to be like a 2-0 to 4-0 victory for Atalanta, and we're ruined. But silence was deafening, but we kept on saying there are key substitutions to be made in the second half. So if Cagliari can hang on, go into the second half 1-0, then there's an element of hope, right? But we didn't have to wait that long, because in the 41st minute, Augello found the leveller after some brilliant hold-up play by Shomorodov, who found the Italian left-back in space, and Augello fired past Carnesecchi. It was brilliant hold-up play by Shomorodov. He had three of Atalanta's defenders around him. And let me tell you what, man, seeing those guys in real life, Kolasinac with his fucking sheer size and strength. I don't think any player won a 50-50 up against Kolasinac.
They're massive as a team, man. They're so strong. Everyone, from top to bottom. Like you look up front, you've got Scamacca and Cope Miners.
Cope Miners is big, man.
Strong guys, man. In the middle, Ederson and De Roon are quite beefy. Zappacosta was winning duels like it was nothing, man. Hatteber as well on the other side has got a bit of size to him. And then the 3 at the back, man. Kolasinac, Jimcity and Toloi are like 3 monsters.
Beasts,
These guys
man.
are like, remember Space Jam when they played against the Monsters? Atalanta are the Monsters, man. And they lost like the Monsters.
Yeah. So enter the second half 1-1, and there's belief, because the substitutions need to happen. They need to bring on Zito, they need to bring on Lapadula, who they never ended up bringing on. They need to bring on Viola. And the point was they needed to take out Deola, but Deola actually had a great game. 88th minute, Luvumbo's trademark cross was just slightly out of reach for Jimcity, as Viola rose highest and flicked his header into the bottom corner past Carnesecchi, and the stadium just goes absolutely berserk. Being there was absolutely unbelievable. I have to put that up there with like the top 3 experiences of my life, honestly. What a city. Great fucking place, man.
Slightly derelict, but very run down a bit. But yes, that's another thing about the bean, by the way. Viola scores the winner, and I just bought her shirt. It's on my back. That's another one, by the way. It's just crazy. Yeah.
And we were sat next to what looked like some kind of business partners of Cagliari. To my left, there was the man and the woman, very smartly dressed, like they know everything about Cagliari. They seemed involved in some. They definitely weren't just a couple who came to watch the game.
On my right exchanged a few words with Gaetano.
Really?
Yes,
Because
man,
we weren't with the. We were in the corporate section. You know, we were with the players, with coaches. There's a funny thing, man. Players were coming off the pitch and going onto the bench.
yes, this is hilarious.
And when they come on the bench, obviously they're face to face with us because they have to go up the steps, and we're literally looking them in the eye. And Ranieri will tell them like, "Bravo, good game," and then they high five all the good game. And the Primavera are like, good game, bro. And then I go, "Bravo, bravissimo, what a game!" And they just look at me like, "Who the fuck are you, bro?" They all looked at me like I was a maniac, man. It was fucking. We couldn't stop laughing about it, man.
It was so funny because it's true, bro. Like think about it from his perspective. Ranieri, high five Pro, so well done, good game. Goes up to the bench, high fives everyone. Like the Primavera, high five Catania over there, like with the Primavera, like high five. Then they turns to you, bro. Like, bravo, bravissimo, bello, good shit, man.
This
is a double take. He looked at you again, like this.
And the thing is, we looked drunk. Like in the photo we have with Petania, people at work were saying like, "Liba, how much we love how drunk you look." Like you can't tell because we get bags and you go a bit cross-eyed. I get bags and you go cross-eyed, which is hilarious. What I was saying about that couple sat next to us, they were like, "Where are you from?" We're like, "Malta." They're like, "If we win this game, we're inviting you back." Like, and unfortunately, we didn't get the opportunity to exchange details. But if you're listening, hi.
Hi. Come back.
But let's get into some talking points. I just have to say, watching the game, I got to see a fantastic defensive performance by Cagliari. Mina was excellent, and what an addition he is. Because that physicality, that strength, and that athleticism as well, very important addition to that side. But Dossena was unplayable. I don't know where he was in the first goal. Definitely not covering Mina, because Mina went on to stop the cross and then Scamacca was totally alone in the middle. So I don't think he was perfect in the opener. But other than that, he didn't put a foot wrong. I don't think anyone dribbled past him, got past him. His decisions, whether or not to go for the interception or to hang back to tackle a player, he always got it right. He was absolutely unbelievable. Everyone in the stadium was like, Dossena. Every time he did something, there was that, oh my god, this guy is brilliant.
Yeah, and that explains why he's on the front cover of the pamphlet. Which, by the way, you see the damage over here? Petania stepped on it. I swear to God. Stepped on it.
I just kissed it.
Great. Yes, I thought it was a very smart thing to do by Ranieri. Very risky, of course. Kind of benching, leaving the big guns on the bench for the second half. But he matched them man for man quite physically. Like that midfield of Sulemana, Deola and Makumbu. They went through a lot this game.
Yes, bro.
Physically. And then Mina and Dossena were just a very powerful centre-back duo. And man, Nandes, you can tell when you're watching on TV, but it's even more impressive how hard he works on the pitch.
Yes.
He doesn't stop. And even if someone's twice his size, he doesn't mind getting dirty, man. He'll get into a 50-50, he'll make himself smaller. He's so hard to knock over and he's so nimble as well.
Who stood out to you?
So Oristanio's technique was very good.
Oristanio was good.
Very good. It's Oristanio and Gaetano were the best technically as well. Shomorodov had a tough time, and I think he did extremely well on the first goal. Dossena, by the way, stood out the most. He surprised me the most because of how commanding he is.
Yeah.
Absolute titan at the back. I think those were the guys who stood out to me the most from Cagliari. From Atalanta, I think Derun was everywhere, man.
I would say Derun is the one that impressed me the most. Keep in mind, we've watched Atalanta before. And I like Jim City as well. Just seeing him in person, it was was different. But I also want to shout out in that Cagliari midfield, a guy that has often had a tough time for Cagliari, one of Jake's least favourite players. I thought Deola put in a shift like no other, and I think he is a key reason as to why they managed to get this done, because he was tidying up everything in that midfield, man. I thought he was absolutely great. That being said, I just want to highlight Claudio Ranieri, because we could talk about this Cagliari team all day. We could talk about their drive all day and that they're a team of hustlers, but don't you need a fantastic fucking coach to get that hustle out of you? Now think of how this team even made it to Serie A, because this team technically shouldn't have even been in the conversation. Everything they did to get to Serie A was they were the underdogs. Their comebacks every single time in the playoffs
at a disadvantage because of league standings every time.
Every single time there were teams that automatically progressed to the semi-finals. They weren't one of them. They just had to keep working, and the way they come from behind all the time, it's not just the team. It can't just be the team. They must have one hell of a motivator.
Yeah.
This guy won the league with Leicester, which, by the way, in my opinion, greatest story in football, if not sporting history. Because to win the Premier League with Leicester City, who the season before almost got relegated, it's unbelievable.
When you look at all those wage bills that the big teams around yours are paying, and you win the league.
You know how old
crazy.
he is. You know he's fucking 70s, like 72 or 73, man.
Yeah, he started managing fucking ages ago.
Bro, in the 80s.
In the 80s.
In the 80s he started managing.
That's crazy. Yeah. Ranieri, definitely. Okay, so when it comes to his tactics, I wouldn't even say he's tactically rigid, but he does have these old school philosophies. Like, for example, the way they started this game. You know, it was all Atalanta pressing, and he knew, that's the thing. He understands fully well what his team is capable of, so he just kept it tight, and then he kind of let his boys grow into the game. But you can tell that he kind of transcends this sense of belief into his boys, man. And yeah, man, they trust him, they love him, and you can tell even in the first half when Atalanta scored early and Cagliari weren't even in the game. The players around, no one's really looking at, no one's questioning Ranieri, you know, they're very obedient and respectful with him, you know. And apart from Petagna throwing papers at the bench, everyone was pretty well behaved.
Wow, fucking funny when the clock was ticking, like 92nd minute, 93rd minute. Yes, Petagna's just throwing papers at Lapadula and give a head nod like, alright bro, like this is crazy.
Lapadula started warming up in the first half, by the way, and the game on. That's a sad thing.
Listening to him shouting
from the bench.
That's
a leader right there.
Thing is, this is the beautiful thing. If you guys have never watched a football game, the main reason
somehow, for some reason, listening to this podcast,
but the main live. Not everyone has the luxury. Okay. One of the coolest things is seeing that it's not an act. I know it sounds weird, but everyone talks about like what a great leader Lapadula is, and we're there. He's a couple feet away from us, and he's actually being a leader right in front of our eyes. And you're like, okay, this isn't like a comic book or a TV series. This is fucking real. The guy is there motivating his teammates. Like, he's actually every single day he is that team player, and the fact that you get to see that in front of you is amazing.
It definitely puts things into perspective, man. Definitely. Shout out to Bakker, by the way, who was picked up by Gasperini, one of Gasperini's victims. He brought him on in the second half and then removed him. I mean, he wasn't great, but to be honest, it didn't stand. It was very tight, man. No one looked particularly great from Atalanta, I think, this game.
I think, was he even getting run down? Because he came in on the left, so he was on the side of Oristagno, but Luvumbo came on.
Yeah.
So Luvumbo was finding space.
But not a crazy amount.
Not a crazy amount. Yeah. Scapegoat?
Probably. Mark. I mean, you know how Gasperini is.
Perhaps, man. He looked miserable. He went straight into the tunnel. We were drunk, so we did give him some stick. Bye, Bakker!
How horrible.
Well, good game, bro. Just like, A bit terrible, but all is fair in love and sports. Whatever.
Right, Macbeth.
The many faces of Atalanta. One day they're on a winning streak that you think is going to propel them up to Champions League football. Now suddenly they can't even make fifth, when fifth will give you, was most likely going to give you Champions League. They are in sixth place on 50 points. They are 5 points behind Roma. However, guys, they do have that game in hand against Fiorentina. Fiorentina, who have just gotten the better of them. On the other hand, Cagliari up to 13th on 30 points. Some breathing room. Frosinone, who are in 18th, are on 26. So a 4-point gap in a relegation battle that has been so tight is actually quite a bit of breathing room, but they have devastating fixtures coming up.
They've got Milan, they've got Juve, they've got Inter.
I'm actually going to pull them up.
Sassuolo. I'd seen Lazio.
They have next Inter, and then Juve, and then Genoa away. And then they have Lecce home, and then Milan away, then Sassuolo away, then Fiorentina home. Okay. They can get a few points there. They can get points.
This is what they needed, though.
Yeah. They can get points, but because before it was the same games we just said, but with Atalanta first, right? They can get points against Lecce. They can potentially get something out of Genoa, if it's a draw, and they can potentially get something out of Sassuolo.
And the Fiorentina one isn't too bad because they're home. That's the only reason.
It depends if Fiorentina
most of their points at home.
It depends if Fiorentina have anything to play for. Genoa are probably already in summer mode because they're safe. They can't fight for Europe. So yeah, but that's that, bro. We can jump onto yours right now.
What a brilliant game that was. So we can move on to the game that stole all the headlines. A game that whatever it lacked in football, it made up for in storylines and in just shithousery, and it was absolutely brilliant to watch. And it made our cover art of the episode as well. Apologies to David, bro. I love you. David's one of our patrons. He's our only patron who's a Lazio fan. He could definitely use some backup if you're a Lazio fan and listening.
His surname is also Mastro Battista,
which is fucking cool.
The best.
Roma lined up with Svilar in goal, Celik, Lorente, Mancini and Angelino at the back in a 4-3-2-1 formation with Pellegrini, Paredes and Cristante in the middle, Dybala and El Shaarawy playing behind Romelu Lukaku. For Lazio, it was a 3-4-2-1, this new two-door system. Mandas was in goal with Gila, Romagnoli and Casale at the back, with Marusic and Felipe Anderson playing as the wing-backs, Vecino and Guendouzi as a double pivot, and Kamada and Isaacson playing behind Ciro Immobile. So, in the 6th minute, there was a misplaced Mancini pass. Isaacson played Immobile through, and Immobile missed the target. It was a narrow angle. He had to hit the target from there, but of course, he did not. In the 42nd minute, that's when the goal came. It was a very powerful header by Mancini, who used literally the top flat part of his head to power the ball into the back of the net. That hurts, by the way.
He used his brain.
Yeah, have you ever mishit a header and it just hits the top of your head, or when you're young and you hit the ball and you have no idea what you're doing, and your head's just throbbing off?
It rattles your brain, man.
Literally. He celebrated as arrogantly as ever, pure shithousery, with that arrogant bow in front of the fans. Of course, it was Dybala who delivered the corner. He has these moments in him now where he can change games. Yeah, and that was an advantage for Roma. In the 54th minute, there was Lukaku who charged forward. He released El Shaarawy 1v1 quite well from a slightly awkward angle, but El Shaarawy could only hit the crossbar with a powerful strike. This is what I mean, by the way, when I say Lukaku still has these moments in him as a support striker, purely mostly. The way he ran forward over there, bro, and just released El Shaarawy was very, very good. And I think El Shaarawy did the best he probably could. It was unlucky because it struck the crossbar.
He almost looked as good as Shomurodov there, Lukaku. No, I'm just kidding.
The last free kick action of the game pretty much summed it up for Lazio, as Felipe Anderson took a free kick. He tried to play Guendouzi through. Guendouzi thought he was offside and he let the ball run. The Roma defender just ran up to the ball and cleared it, and the referee blew the final whistle after Lazio had committed all the men forward. Now, A few things to point out. So first of all, the reverse fixture was actually a 1-0 win for Lazio, because I did not mention that. Zaccagni had scored the penalty that game. There was a massive fight at the end, if you remember, when Pedro got sent off, Azmoun got sent off, Mancini got sent off, everyone and their mother got sent off. This game saw quite a bit of drama. My personal favorite was Mancini running up to the crowd at the end of the game and taking a flag with the Lazio colours on it and a massive black rat in the middle and just running and waving the flag around the stadium.
He got fined 5,000 euros.
And he got fined 5,000 euros, and the Roma fans set up a GoFundMe and paid it off for him. Now, epic, legendary, love it. But I'm sure he could have paid it off better than most of the fans could have.
Well, it's just though. I think the argument is just that. Now I don't know where you stand in this, and I'm a football fan, not a Serie A professional who makes rules and whatever. But relax. Is there any need to fine him 5k? Like if the flag shouldn't be fucking waved in the air, then don't allow it in the stadium. If it's such a rude flag, then don't allow it in the stadium. What's the matter if a fan is waving it or Mancini is waving it?
Because I guess it's unsportsmanlike conduct. But to be honest, you know
Love
what?
it.
Keep the fines in place. If a player is willing to get fined, let them get fined. Because this, for me, football needs villains. You can't neutralize
for sure
and remove the authenticity and make everyone into a robot.
Yeah.
For me, Mancini, this game, bowing in front of the fans and taking the flag and waving it around and waving and winking at the opposition. You
Fucking
know,
right,
that's
man.
The shit. That's the reason.
Netherlands, Argentina.
That's the reason I'm so obsessed with football. Exactly, Netherlands, Argentina. What a game, with Paredes kicking the ball at the stands, like at the bench of the Netherlands. It was mental. And then Van Dijk knocking him down.
Did Theo get fined? Yes, Theo had gotten fined when Milan won the league because he was chanting Interista vaffanculo and Çalhanoğlu figlio di puttana.
Exactly. He started the whole Çalhanoğlu chant.
I think Milan had gotten fined. I think Theo had gotten fined.
Another funny moment. So last week, guys, we mentioned Dybala's shin guards.
It's ridiculous.
Right? I said
shin guards.
That he has shin guards with pictures of himself on them. It turns out he's holding the World Cup in them, and I basically said that that's the same thing as having a selfie as your wallpaper on your phone. Not only did we see them again this game, but he used these shin pads while the referee wasn't looking. He pulled his sock down, he took his shin pad off, he went up to Guendouzi and he pointed at the picture of himself lifting the World Cup while looking at Guendouzi. Of course, Guendouzi being French and Dybala being from Argentina.
They were both in the squad.
And that was absolutely brilliant. I love this shit again. Which reminds me, bro, a chicky.
meow. There's this video, man. I think you can find it on our TikTok.
on our stories. I reposted it on TikTok.
It's a meme of Guendouzi's performance against Roma. And there's just this guy that looks exactly fucking like him. I think he's dressed in light blue as well. Oh my god.
It's so funny. Yeah, it's like Guendouzi against Roma, you know. It's brilliant.
You know what is driving me a bit mental? And I don't know if that's the right kind of phrase to use, but what do you think about Roma not offering De Rossi a contract yet?
I think it's weird.
And the guy that do you know who they're looking at?
They're looking at the guy who used to manage City back in the day. What's his name?
Manuel Pellegrini, who's 72 years old.
Pellegrini, man, how freaking confusing.
I'm done with Pellegrini. He's like, but
you know what, man? These I don't even think that these rumors need to be acknowledged. You know, at the moment, obviously, it might be weird looking at the way De Rossi has this Roma performing. And the fact that they haven't offered him a contract yet. However, why would they be so quick with it? Why they have till the end of the season? You know, the objective right now is to see where Roma can finish in the league, to see if they can get Champions League. They need to see how he performs in the Europa League, and they need to see as well, of course, how the dressing room feels with De Rossi, which I'm convinced they're happy. De Rossi has shown that, as I mentioned in the last episode, he is brilliant at setting his team up in the defensive phase as well as the offensive phase. So it's looking good for him, but there's no need to offer him a contract right now. The season ends in a few match days.
I agree. It's just the move. If the move for Pellegrini, if they're actually in talks with Pellegrini, that is what drives me
mental. That would be very negative. That would be so stupid.
You've got they did a fantastic job with keeping the fans on board and keeping the players on board with bringing in one of the only people Roma probably love more than Mourinho. Could have been either Totti or De Rossi, you know, and they brought in De Rossi, and he's actually having great success. I do feel like it kills a bit of the motivation by going to someone like Manuel Pellegrini, 72-year-old former City and Real Madrid and Real Betis manager. Just a little bit random. Like I do feel like they've got a good thing going on, and apparently De Rossi's hot property because Fiorentina are looking at him. Fiorentina made him an offer, and he's kind of like waiting for Roma.
There's going to be a lot of movement, I have a feeling. Last season we barely saw any changes. In the top 7, everyone kept the coach, remember that? Palladino will probably move, Gilardino will probably move,
Napoli will bring in someone new,
Italiano will probably move, De Rossi might move, you know, there's going to be a lot of movement.
Yeah, man.
Allegri might leave Juve, will probably leave Juve. So I'm very curious to see what will happen. If I were Roma, I would hang on to De Rossi as tightly as I could, because if this is his first ever taste of top flight football without even having a preseason, without having a transfer market, without having anything, and he's doing this, he's got everyone firing, man.
May I just bring you back, though, to a point that you made in the past about how this could be, hiring De Rossi would be a lose-lose situation for Roma, because you specifically said, if De Rossi exceeds expectations, the shitty thing is that they'll have to...
Yes, but...
give him a contract.
I remember saying that, and obviously, if I had to go back and observe the situation again, I would have said exactly the same thing.
Of course,
sacking Mourinho for De Rossi was never a good move on paper for me. I'm just extremely blown away, and I'm going to use this word. I'm flabbergasted, bro. I'm flabbergasted by how refined De Rossi's system is, and what an intellectual he is. What he sets up, it's kind of like that whole Guardiola thing, you know, where everything is set up for 3/4 of the pitch, and then in the final third there's room for improvisation, which is so good to see, man. Yes, I'm blown away personally by De Rossi, so I don't think if they renew him it would be a negative thing. I think he can only get better, to be honest. I don't think that this is simply a hurrah. The team is playing finally because they've been let off their shackles. I think there are systems in place here that are getting the best out of the players that he has available. And now, by the way, coming on together were the two forgotten Englishmen. Tammy Abraham and Smalling came on. They
Welcome back, boys.
Yes.
Welcome back.
Very, very happy to see you there. One point on Napoli, on Lazio, is that Lazio are kind of having their pre-season now, man.
That's true.
Lazio they're being managed by Tudor, who came in and immediately changed the system, right? Implementing his three at the back system, and playing players at wing back who aren't really best suited for wing back, like Philip Anderson, for example. He benched Luis Alberto. He's trying to get things sticking, you know. Apparently word on the street is that Luis Alberto doesn't move the ball around quickly enough to fit Tudor's system. He's giving the strikers a half each. You know, it feels like an audition for next year.
You remember
which is weird, because they still have what to play for right now. He needs to get this shit fucking sorted ASAP. Like, granted, I know Tudor is a good hire. It's a good option for them, but they do need to think about the now a bit more, I think.
May I take you back to last season when Mihailovic passed away and Motta took over as Bologna manager? He had no other choice but to play around with his lineup, to play around with his starting 11 until he found the one that suited his play style most. And after, I remember the Bologna fans were like, we have no idea what the fuck this guy is doing, because there isn't something he's not trying. Until he found his formula, he's and that formula has been working ever since. They're fighting for Europe.
Yeah.
So I think Tudor does need that time, and I do think Lazio fans need to be patient with him. Now, what are his goals for the season? Do they still want Europe, or do they just want him to figure it out so that next year they could go and fight for the Champions League?
So Europe is most definitely still a priority, simply because of the financial gain that you would get from qualifying and the fact that you're so disadvantaged. And when you look at Italian revenue as a whole compared to what they make in England or in Spain, for example, you need Europe to remain competitive. Especially when you look at the players that Lazio have. You know, Philip Anderson's off on a free.
Yeah,
Luis
to
Alberto's
Juve, confirmed.
Yeah, Luis Alberto's getting up there in age, you know, consistency as well. Immobile as well is kind of finished. So they do need to reinforce. So I think that getting Europe is essential for their transfer market as well. This is the difference between what Motta had and what Tudor has. Motta didn't have anything to play for at the time. They were safe. They weren't going to go down. They weren't going to get Europe. So he had the luxury of mixing things up and shaking things about. Lazio are 2 points of a Conference League spot. So he still has objectives that need to be reached. You know, I mean, with a good spell towards the end of the season and a little bit of luck, they could qualify for the Europa League, these guys, you know.
That's true. Yeah, that it does make sense what you're saying, considering that the stakes are a little bit higher for Tudor. I would personally hate to be in his situation.
Yes, I mean, I don't know if it's wise to go to this team without a preseason on the transfer market and really try to implement this three at the back. I'm not quite sure if Lazio are built for it, man, to be honest with you, when you look at the profiles over there.
Like Chazale was brought back into the team after having a devastating start to the season. He wasn't good at all.
At the start, it's true. I think the wing backs, for example, it's in a 3-5-2 system or whatever. When you play three at the back with fullbacks, the fullbacks are everything. You look at Inter, it's all about DiMarco and Dumfries, man. Essentially, you know, it's like they're two pivotal pieces for that system. You need to be able to charge up and down and to defend as well as attack. These guys can't do it. You know, Maricic, granted he scored the winner against Juve, but he's not great bombing up and down, and Philip Anderson defensively isn't going to give you a lot, and you're kind of wasting him. You're wasting him, you're making him defend, and then pushing Kamada up, who's done nothing all season. You know, I mean, yes, he's trying to figure out what his boys can do, but it might come at a detrimental expense of not qualifying for European competition.
And it came unexpected for Lazio because obviously it was the resignation of the coach that wasn't calculated in the same way in which Roma's was calculated, where they're like, okay, we've got 4 easier fixtures coming up. Let's hire De Rossi now so that he could hit the ground running before playing Inter. But rather, he was in the thick of it. A game against Juve, and then Coppa Italia semi-finals, and then a couple more games, then a game against Roma immediately, Derby della Capitale. So he hasn't really had a break to door, and he's been thrown right into the deep end with a team that isn't motivated. And yeah, it's a tough situation for him to be in, but his experiments this season and the trial and error he's getting this season, along with pre-season, could set them up decently for next year. And hey, suddenly they'll be one of the few teams within the top 7 that have some decent experience under their new manager.
Yeah, and some continuity as well. That's a very good point. Yeah, I think for Roma, this game, just to go back to the game a little bit, I think they got the job done quite comfortably. They did move to a 3 at the back formation themselves. This is what I was talking about when I praised De Rossi's tactical flexibility. They moved to a 3 at the back at the end of the game and contained Lazio and conceded pretty much nothing. You know, they hardly suffered any chances. So there was that. One more thing from this game before we move on, and it's not really from this game, it's more about Lazio in general. Stefan Radu.
Oh my God.
Yes, was photographed wearing a Lazio sweater. I think it was a sweater. And it had SS Lazio written on the side. And the SS was on the font of the Nazis, essentially.
Yeah, they're calling it Nazi memorabilia.
Yes.
Now, it's not actual Nazi memorabilia. It's very, very fucking suggestive. In fact, Serie A Instagram uploaded it and then took it down immediately because they noticed.
Yeah.
What are you doing, Radu?
I'm convinced he has no idea.
Same.
Yeah, I've obviously.
Why
that's
does
a
it
baseless
exist,
claim.
bro? Why does it
that-
exist?
Oh, so many horrible things exist. The dark web. The dark web.
Try
Serie-
find one of another team.
I
though.
heard something that's too putrid for this podcast about what you can buy on the dark web.
Well, that yes, but I'm talking about football kits.
Yeah.
And I know that Fiorentina had one band. They had a really cool, in inverted commas, for those of you not watching video, a really cool kit with 7-Up as the sponsor. It was a white kit, and then the shoulder patch from the chest upwards was purple and had a really cool black line design. Only if you look close enough, that line design could be seen as swastikas.
Swastikas.
Yeah. So it was banned. I think they only played one game in it. Yeah, I wish it wasn't a swastika, because otherwise it would have been a really
It would
cool
have been
kit.
a nice kit. Not much to say about that, to be honest. I'm sure Rado has a bit of explaining to do. He'll probably just say, I had no idea, and get away with it, because if he had no idea, he had no idea. You know?
I mean,
the reason it exists, and then is another story.
I mean, Rado typically has no idea, no? Look at some of his performances.
Fair enough. Let me just take the bean off my phone and read where they are. So, Roma are currently in 5th, still making that push for Champions League, with Bologna dropping points and them getting the victory in the derby. They're only 3 points behind right now, with 55 points in 5th, while Lazio are in 8th, 2 points off a Conference League spot, on 46 points behind Napoli.
Udinese 1, Inter 2. The previous encounter was Inter 4, Udinese 0, so you might have thought it was going to be a little bit easier for Inter. Late drama in this game, but Inter are driven to win the Scudetto in the derby, securing their 2nd star ahead of their rivals Milan during the derby, which would be an amazing achievement for them, and just obviously catastrophic for Milan and their fans, because not only do they win the derby, not only do they win the league, but they also get the 2nd star.
Did I mention how that could be avoided in the last episode, or did I tell you off camera?
How could it be avoided?
Milan should just lose to Sassuolo. And then rest players against Inter and play everyone fit in the Europa League.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, just let Inter win it before, you know.
That's a great idea, actually, but
Then the problem is you save Sassuolo.
no, and I think purely at the moment it's looking good with him and his job. I don't think he'll do anything to jeopardize that. Injuries for Inter are Bastoni, Quadrado and De Vrij, whilst injuries for Udinese, Telefeu, Bosele and Lucca was suspended. 3-5-1-1 for Udinese, Okoye in goal, and the backline of Christensen, Bijol and Perez, Kamara on the left, Ezibue on the right, and the midfield trio of Zarraga, Wallace and Samardzic, with Pereira playing behind Tuvon. 3-5-2 for Inter, Sommer in goal, backline of Pavard, Acerbi and Carlos Augusto, Dumfries on the right, Di Marco on the left, midfield trio of Barella, Çalhanoğlu and Mkhitaryan, with Thuram and Lautaro up top. On the 39th minute, Samardzic low cross from the corner of the box rolled all the way into the back of the net after a mix-up between Sommer and Dumfries, where each of them expected the other to commit.
Yeah.
No one did, and the ball went into the bottom corner for what was quite a comical goal. Let's discuss. Whose fault do you think this was?
I think it was Dumfries, right?
Dumfries and Sommer.
So Dumfries' body language was quite misleading, because he looked to be going to get it, then he surrendered it, right? But I think Sommer, as the goalkeeper and as the guardian of his box and his post, and he had to be on that. I think it was Sommer's ball to claim over there. At least follow it, guide the ball, follow the trajectory. You see many goalkeepers like dive when the ball is going out, just in case. Yeah. You do that.
Like they often say, a striker, if a ball is being whipped into the striker and the striker anticipates that the defender is going to head it away, don't not commit to it.
Yeah.
Commit anyway in case he doesn't fucking get there. And for a goalkeeper, that is obviously more prevalent because they're guarding the net. This is an uncharacteristical error by Sommer. You have to give like maybe 5%, 10% of the mistake to Dumfries for being like caught between two minds kind of thing. But as an experienced goalkeeper, command your box. Mine! Jump on. Keeper ball!
Exactly.
Yours! Clear! communicate, baby. It's fine. At the start of the second half, Inter thought they equalised through an Augusto header, only to find that Lautaro was offside when flicking the ball on. 55th minute, Çalhanoğlu netted from the spot. The penalty was awarded as Okoye clattered into Thuram in an attempt to collect a cross. Çalhanoğlu absolutely inevitable from the spot. Udinese almost went ahead again in the 64th minute as Kamara squared the ball to Tufan on the break, but Mkhitaryan produced a world-class interception sliding in at the last moment. Absolutely brilliant interception there.
He's incredible, huh? The industry and the level he's playing at 35 is wild.
Mental. 35, the age at which his father died.
Mkhitaryan's now the age at which his father died. What, like, really? That's the stat you guys.
It was his passing accuracy. In the 94th minute, Frattesi got another clutch winner as he tapped into an empty net. Okoye was grounded when guiding Lautaro's low strike onto the post, and the ball fell very kindly to the Italian, who finished in for another clutch goal, very similar to the one he scored against Verona back in January. That leads me to my first talking point. Frattesi, he's happily kind of filling in, like being a squad player at the moment, at playing this clutch role, coming on, doing what he does. Do you think there are big plans for him next season?
Yes, big plans next season, potentially not. Potentially. I see him still being a kind of bench player for next season, a backup, let's say. But his future is bright. Right now I'm trying to maneuver and navigate my iPad to get his exact age, but I'm not really the best.
He's like 24?
Yeah, he's 24 years old, exactly. Yeah. So in Italian years, that makes him, 18? He has been a true professional, not really complaining, coming on and getting things done. Of course, it's easy to not complain when you're winning, right? But we'll see what happens in Inter's market, because it seems like they're losing big players every year, so he might find himself in a position where he's a key player for this team. It needs to be said, he's changed Inter's season twice. The first one was when he scored the late winner against Hellas Verona, inspiring Inter and pumping them up, and they went on to play brilliantly for a bunch of games after, having played terribly against Hellas Verona that game. And now this game basically confirmed that they need 2 more victories to win the league, with the second one coming against Milan, and he's just fueled his boys with confidence. So he's doing a great job in his first season, I think, at Inter, despite hardly ever featuring, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because, like we've often said, he's not a direct replacement for Mkhitaryan if we're talking about a very balanced midfield, because he is a goal-scoring midfielder at the end of the day. So he would need to kind of readjust the way that he plays in that midfield in order for him to fit into that system. But that is something, he's still young, that is something he's very capable of doing. We've never seen him play that role, but I'm sure he can. He did often fall quite defensively for Sassuolo, because naturally they're a smaller team that like to guard results and like to get 1 point every now and then. So I'm sure he can do it.
Listen to this, bro. He started 3 games. Okay, so he's played 25 times, but he's only started 3 games, and he's on 5 goals.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty good. And he made 1 team of the week as well. It's not a bad first season, especially when you look at the way Inter are running away with it, to still get minutes on a team like that.
Yeah, very impressive. Very impressive. Sam Ardzic got a goal after a collapsed move. This Ruolo del Lex and all of this is a real fucking thing, man.
It is,
because that should have never been a goal. First of all,
it was so weird. And imagine they had scored. I don't know if you saw the chance creation map for this game, bro. It is absolutely unbelievable. I'll just show you right here. Basically, I'm going to describe what I'm seeing over here. Udinese have just 1 green bar at the start, and that's their goal. That's the only shot they had on target. That's the only positive moment they had all game. The rest is just Inter. The size of the bar reflects how good the chance was. Look at the size of Udinese's bar. It was never meant to be a goal.
Oh my
and look at Inter's.
Jesus Christ,
crazy.
That looks like New York from a distance.
This is on SofaScore, guys, if you want to check it out.
Yeah. No, and I think Udinese did a great job to hang on for as much as they can. They frustrated Inter. Inter still not 100% as convincing as they were January, February, December, November of last year. I feel like that was their peak. They don't seem as confident, perhaps, as they did in that period, or at least they're not playing as attractive a brand of football as they did back then. But the results are still there, which is a fucking fantastic sign.
And it's as the title, if we actually do go for this title, mentions it's crunch time.
Yeah.
It's crunch time. So the games are harder now than ever. When you're not going to beat Udinese 4-0 at this point in the season. Right now, all the teams are fighting for their lives. They're all fighting for some kind of objective. Udinese want to survive. They need points. So yeah, it's even more difficult for them to get points, and this just highlights their mentality, and they're just they don't give up this season.
Yeah, it was another goalless game for the front too. They haven't scored. Lautaro hasn't scored in like 4 matches, and I believe even Thuram. It's a bit of a dry spell for them, but it gives the opportunity to people like Çalhanoğlu, I guess, and Frattesi to come in. But
the defenders.
And the defenders. But should that be a concern at all for Inter?
No, I don't think they should worry at all. I think Inter.
Lautaro scored enough for 2 seasons this season anyway.
I think they're about to win the league. They should be jovial. Now, if they have to worry about anyone right now for next season, it's how they're gonna replace, or if they're even gonna manage to get rid of Arnautovic and Sanchez, who they're gonna bring in instead of them. The whole situation when it comes to their
Taremi.
Taremi's coming in, yes. But there's another one if Sanchez goes, for example, or Arnautovic. There are 2 that need to be replaced. Who's going to be sacrificed? Because it seems that with their financial situation, they seem to be letting go of good players for a markup every single season. They have operated very intelligently so far. Letting go of Hakimi, letting go of Lukaku, letting go of who was the most recent one, Onana. They made bank with these guys.
Yeah.
Who's going to be sacrificed this year? Does anyone need to be sacrificed this year? How are they going to replace the person who's sacrificed? Is Marotta looking? Is he cooking? Those are the questions that need to be asked.
Yeah, no, low key, I hate the summer transfer window just because it's so much to keep up with and there's so much hearsay. But I low key can't wait for it at the same time.
I don't like the rumors. They drive me mad. And I don't like as well when podcasts are discussing rumors. I love listening to podcasts, and I don't like listening about rumors and things like that.
Yeah, we'll do it our way, bro. Don't worry about that. Okoye made a mistake giving away the penalty, but otherwise he had 3 great saves, 2 on Hakan and 1 on Lautaro. I do think that overall he is probably a better goalkeeper than Silvestri, and I believe that Udinese have upgraded in that area. Udinese still have a lot to fight for because they're in 15th on 28 points, just 2 points ahead of Frosinone. Inter, on the other hand, 82 points, running away with it.
Yeah, but then that takes us to Milan, who are on the island that is 2nd place. They took on Lecce at home and won 3-0, and they lined up in a 4-2-3-1 formation with Magnan in goal, Calabria and Theo Hernandez as the fullbacks, with Tomori and Gabi as the centre-back pairing. Adli and Reinders started as a double pivot this game, with Chukwueze and Leao on the flanks, with Pulisic actually playing centrally this game, and Giroud playing up top. For Lecce, it was a 4-3-3 formation with Falcone in goal, Gallo on the left and Venuti on the right, with Pongracic and Baschirotto as a centre-back partnership, with Juan Gonzalez, Blin and Ramadani as the midfield 3, Lamek Banda on the left, Patrick Dorgu on the right as an inverted winger, and Kristovic playing as the striker. The previous encounter between these 2 teams was actually when my friend, shout out Tom Triganza, got married. I remember watching the first part of the game before having to get into a taxi, and Milan were 2-0 up, and when I got to the wedding I look at my phone and Milan were losing 3-2, only for that last goal by Piccoli to be called off controversially and the game to end in a 2-2 score. It was Sanson and Banda who had scored to equalise, and Giroud and Reinders had opened the score.
Yeah, but that was just after the Napoli game where Milan threw away a 2-0 lead. You remember that? Milan can't keep a 2-0 lead.
Yeah.
And then it was 2-0 at half time in this game, and I looked at him like, remember the last game, how chill we were as well? Like,
it's horrible when that happens, because you're always so calm now when you have a 2-0 lead. It's always like, yeah. So Pulisic started this game centrally, no problem. He scored in 6 minutes. He's done this many times for the United States national team, playing centrally like that, and he's always been productive from that, so it was nothing new for him. Giroud scored 20 minutes in. At first I wasn't sure if he had got the last touch on the ball, but I think it has been confirmed since that he did, and it's actually his goal. Juan Gonzalez at the crossbar with a looping header after a lovely ball from Ramadani. You might have forgotten that. There was a beautiful ball over the top, and Ramadani went for a looping, dinked it, and it hit the crossbar. It looked like Manian didn't know much about it, to be honest. And then in the 45th minute, Kristovic got a red card for a very high leg. It wasn't even a high leg. It was a studs up kick at the end of the day on who was it? Remind me. In 1 second, I think, did I not write it? I didn't write it. Don't worry. I'll probably remember. But yes, he had a Chukwueze.
Was it on Chukwueze?
I believe so, yes. Okay. It was on Chukwueze. He kicked him in the ribs, basically.
Mm-hmm. It was Chukwueze,
Kristovic had no idea that Chukwueze was there because he had his eyes on the ball. But still, it's dangerous play. It's a studs up challenge. Your leg should never be up there. You should be more mindful of the people around you, and that, I think, is a red card.
I disagree.
You disagree?
I don't think it should be a red card. I think there should be something. Some things are just unfortunate, and some things are what they should call sporting incidents. Sometimes mistakes happen, and something like that can happen. You look at, there was this match, Real Madrid, I believe, quarterfinals of the Champions League, away to United at Old Trafford. United dominating. Nani goes to control a ball which is coming up from up top. He's looking at the ball, jumps up, sticks his leg out to control it, and he studs Luka Modric somewhere across his torso and gets a straight red card. I think it's completely unfair that something like that happens, because there's no malice in it, there's no intent in it. It's a foul. Give a yellow card for the high foot, but unless you snap someone's fucking shin in half or you cut someone's face open, then I don't think it should be a red card. I thought it was really harsh.
But okay, it wasn't malicious at all.
No.
We can agree there. However, it was reckless, man. And he could have really...
How is it reckless if he put his leg up to control the ball?
Yes, but
if someone runs into your leg when you have your...
kicking Chukwueze with his studs in his ribs. He could have broken his ribs, bro. That's a very serious fucking... Your leg should never be anywhere above someone's hip bone. You know what I mean? If you're going to make contact with the player, you should never kick them anywhere above the legs. You know what I mean?
Bro, the having your leg always under hip level is bullshit, because even to control certain balls...
For a foul, I'm saying. It's anything above that is dangerous play, very dangerous play.
Don't you think that a yellow card could have been okay for that?
I don't know. You look at the Salamaker's instance, which happened in the Bologna game, of course.
That's more of a red than this.
It was probably more of a red than this, because he was fully aware of where the man was, and he kicked him in the head, and he only got a yellow card. So I'm not going to start screaming for consistency again, because that's obvious. These decisions need to be across the board the same outcome. Mm-hmm. For me, I wouldn't mind, of course, if it's a yellow card offense, but I'm not surprised it was a red. When I saw it instantly, the first thing I said, red card. It's a red card. His studs instantly are in his chest.
But when you watch the replay, doesn't it look clear that literally it's human error? It's a sporting incident. It's not foul play. It's a literal sporting incident.
We can call it an act of God. But it's unfortunate for Kristovic. It's unfortunate for Lecce. But yes, the referee's interpretation of that was a straight red, and he had quite a clear view.
Quite a view, yeah.
It changed the game for them completely, and then at one point Theo shouldered one of the Lecce players of the ball to win it back, and Milan scored through Leao on the counter. And you can see the Lecce management were so pissed off. So they got a red card and they were appealing for a penalty over there, which they didn't get. In the previous game, they had a Piccoli goal disallowed controversially. So you can see them in the box applauding the referee sarcastically, and then they just storm out.
Yeah.
They were very, very pissed off about that. For you, was that a penalty?
No, I don't think so.
So shoulder to shoulder, right?
That's a shoulder to shoulder.
Barge. Yeah. Theo smacked the crossbar from way out towards the end of the game, and Jovic almost got on the scoreboard, but Jean-Drey cleared his effort, which was rolling in off the line. I have been in awe of Chukwueze, brother.
Chukwueze has really grown into the team, man. And like we said, he just seems more comfortable there. It looked like he was just always, he had a lot of pressure to do something, to create something. I think after getting a goal and after getting an assist as well, then he's settled. He has the confidence of the coach, of the fans now, of his teammates, and I think he's in a good place. I don't know if the 4-3-3 with Chukwueze out wide and Pulisic in the middle is sustainable, but I think it's an option for games like this.
Exactly, that's it. There are games where you need a bit more muscle, there are games where you need a bit more skill. When you're playing against a team like Lecce who are going to be tight, who are going to be compact, you need people who are good between the lines. And it only took a few minutes for Chukwueze to absolutely destroy his man on the right and square it to Pulisic, who had been in that position, who was experienced in that position, and just curled it around the entire defense, basically. Yeah, I think this is definitely a good system, but you're not going to go and play against Roma in the Europa League, like this. You're not going to line up like this, I think.
No. I think if you need a win in the second leg, or you want to really surprise your opponents and play with a super high press, then sure. But I also know that a certain Ruben Loftus-Cheek plays that position immaculately. So I also see no reason to drop Ruben to play Chukwueze.
Yeah. Which takes us to the point that all of Milan's forwards are pretty much firing in this final stretch of the season, man. What a good problem Pioli has when it comes to lineups.
Beautiful problem.
Another player I want to highlight is Adli at Regista. Of course, he was sat right in front of the defense, and he had two beautiful assists. One on Giroud where he crossed it in, and one on Leao where he played a defense splitting through ball from his own half. That was an amazing assist. Assist of the week.
Probably.
Yes.
Ooh. There was another one. It was a pre-assist.
Of Vignato.
That was a brilliant one. But yeah, Adli, I thought he was brilliant in this game. Adli, if you give him space, and as a deep-lying Regista, he's often given space, because teams tend to sit back against Milan. You give him the ball over there, and he's very creative. And you know what? His success rate is quite good.
This game, it was incredible, to be honest. He had like 90-something% pass accuracy, and many of them were quite risky passes as well.
92%.
92%. So the fact that he managed that. How many balls did he play?
120.
Wicked.
And 110 were accurate.
That's cool, man.
2 key passes and both assists.
That's
well done, Yassine.
Yeah, he's doing really well, man. I think it's about time we address Cassano's words, should we? Is it even necessary?
I mean,
Cassano basically called Leao a good player who thinks he's a phenomenon. He said that he wouldn't start at a top 7 club 10 to 15 years ago. And then, of course, Leao got this tweet and quoted it and put a bunch of clown emojis to mock Cassano. May I remind you all that Cassano was a technically gifted player, was a very good player, but 10 to 15 years ago he was playing for Sampdoria and for Milan, and he was pretty much 5 kilos overweight. I think it's more the other way around, that Cassano probably wouldn't be playing at this Milan.
100%. Cassano spent his entire career thinking he was a phenomenon.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, that's the hypocrisy.
The Cassano is ridiculous. I was going to say something completely different. I think that he loved the booze too much during his career, and I think he's loving it again with some of the statements that Cassano makes, like the fact that he always wants to put the shock factor. I don't think he's ever said something nice, Cassano. Not to be that guy to call out people for being mean, but I think his need for attention and to be that controversial figure is amazing, and he tends to pick on Milan players for some reason.
He has a vendetta for I don't know why. It was Milan who took care of his whole heart situation back then,
literally
with his rehabilitation and everything, while paying his wages and all that. I think with Cassano the problem is that the media eat it up. I mean, look at us. We're here and we're saying what he said. You look at fucking Sky and all these massive platforms. They love this sensationalism. So it probably encourages him. But I can't agree that he's right. I can't agree with him over here. Leao was obviously a phenomenon. If anything, he's a freak of nature. He's got bags of talent. He's capable of doing it all. Cassano back in the day was of course a fantastic player as well, who I used to really enjoy, and when he was partnering up with
behind
Zlatan,
the striker,
he was a lovely player as well.
Good in tight areas, man.
Yes, but it just strikes us as hypocritical over here.
Yeah,
that's it. So I don't know if there's anything else you want to add from this game. I thought it was a job well done by Milan. They got firing early on. Andrew Batman, one of our patrons, mentioned that most of Giroud's goals this season come early. So he seems to think that Giroud, the way he's being deployed, gives everything he can early on to the game to try to get a goal early on. And then eventually kind of falls to press and is replaced. And that's a very good point, because most of his goals come within the first 30 minutes.
I wonder if there's a stat about when his assists come, because typically when Milan play with two up top when they need a goal, he knocks a few down for Jovic, plays in the wingers a couple of times. That would be an interesting one to see as well. That's, I think, a major talking point to address is like future of Pioli. I know in the last episode we said it basically it's looking good, but we need to see the Inter game and we need to see what happens in the Europa League. I don't think anything has changed since then.
Nothing's changed. I mean, another convincing victory for him, but I think that's what will determine his future, essentially, that Inter game and the Europa League.
Yeah, agreed.
So Milan are in second with 68 points, while Lecce are in 14th with 29 points, hovering just over that relegation pool.
Yeah. Juve won, Fiorentina 0. This is the potential Coppa Italia final if both of the first leg winners are able to hold on to that lead. The previous encounter was also a 1-0 victory for Juve away from home. Juve are back to winning ways, beating Lazio in the Coppa and now Fiorentina in the league. In Serie A, they now have 2 wins in their last 10, so massive round of applause for Juve. Fiorentina are on a very disappointing run in the league, winless in their last 4. However, they beat Atalanta 1-0 in the Coppa. Juve had Milik out with a muscle injury, otherwise fine aside from obviously Pogba and Fagioli, and Fiorentina were full team. 3-5-2 for Allegri, back to a 3 at the back formation. Wojciech Szczesny in goal and a backline of Danilo, Bremer and Gatti. Kostic on the left, Cambiaso on the right, and the midfield trio of Rabiot, Locatelli and McKennie, with Vlahovic and Chiesa starting up front together. 4-2-3-1 for Fiorentina, Terracciano on goal and a backline of Kayode, Milenkovic, Ranieri and Biraghi. A double pivot of Bonaventura and Mandragora, with Barak just ahead of them, Nico Gonzalez on the right, Kwame on the left and Belotti up front. Now the only legal goal came in the 20th minute as Bremer headed a corner onto the post as Gatti was positioned well to tap in the rebound, getting another clutch player that scores clutch goals, right? Szczesny got one of the saves of the season in the 74th minute to deny Nico's curling attempt, tipping it onto the crossbar in fantastic fashion. Szczesny often reminds us that he's actually a very good goalkeeper. And then Beltran found himself in a great position to get the equaliser in the 84th minute, only for his teammate Nzola to get in the way to deny him a certain goal, similar to what Lukaku had done for Inter in the Champions League final.
It's so funny seeing Beltran's reaction to it.
No!
Ostia!
There were the 3 disallowed goals. There were 2 for Vlahovic and 1 for McKennie. So you may think, by looking at the result, Juve 1-0 victory, goal in the 20th minute. You may think this was a classic Allegri Juve win where they got the lead early and defended all game. However, there were the 3 disallowed goals for offside, and apparently Allegri was fuming with his team in the dressing room after the game for not killing the game off and letting Fiorentina threaten in the way they did at the end when Fiorentina were so shit in this game.
Yeah.
And Juve allowed them, by not killing off the game, they allowed them to threaten and make everyone shit themselves.
Yes, he can be furious all he wants, but let's not pretend that he didn't set them up in the second half to do absolutely nothing. It's true that there were 3 disallowed goals in the first half, but Juve stepped out into that second half with the plan on defending for 45 minutes, which is super risky.
Yeah.
Super risky. Play for 10. Play for 50. You've scored 4 goals in the first half. Try get another one.
If that's what Allegri wanted, then why the fuck would he be furious at the end of the game? Did Juve just not fall off in the second half, perhaps?
I don't think so.
I can't believe what I'm saying.
They were
because this
deep, bro. They were deep.
Yeah, I can't believe what I'm saying because this is Allegri's Juve at the end of the day. But I just find it strange that he was so disappointed in his team for not killing the game off.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably as well the adrenaline from almost conceding, because Szczesny pulled off a remarkable save. Save of the week. Incredible save. It was on Bonaventura.
No, it was on Nico.
Yeah, he saved it onto the crossbar, right?
Yes.
Incredible save. And that is what, yes. So there was that moment, and then of course the one that you've just mentioned of Nzola. So probably Allegri would have seen those and just got full of adrenaline, full of rage. Imagine we conceded, we would have lost because they can't stay onside, So yeah, probably that's what prompted his reaction.
Yeah, I think Juve got a victory over here, which puts them in a very good position to secure Champions League football now after a terrible spell. They still have some tough fixtures left. It's still not a guarantee, but with the coefficient, they should be getting Champions League. I don't think there's too much to worry about over there. I want to talk a bit about Fiorentina's management, because Fiorentina now are once again in a European competition, and they'll be competing on that front as they compete to get European football through actually getting 7th in the league. But it has been heavily rumored that Italiano will leave next season, and apparently Napoli are interested in him, and he fits what De Laurentiis is looking for. A bald man who plays a 4-3-3. That's all he wants. So if Italiano were to go to Napoli, Fiorentina have a vacancy, which is why they're looking at De Rossi, which is what we mentioned earlier. However, I can't stop thinking of Gilardino at Fiorentina.
2 profiles that excite me personally. Gilardino would be a great fit. However, I do think it's a little bit early for Gilardino. I would like him to spend one more season at Genoa to see what he can do over there. Palladino is one that I would like to see at Fiorentina. Palladino has proven as well that he's a pretty good manager.
Yeah.
So with a bit more firepower, he could get these boys ticking. I keep saying these boys. These boys.
Legends.
I'm not a big fan of the way Rocco Commisso and the sporting director, the way they move in the market, man. I think they could be more intelligent with their signings.
Fiorentina often make really weird signings,
They like to shop domestically, but they like to buy players that are a little bit mid at times. Like they were fools. They bought into the Nzola hype.
Yeah.
I think that was foolish, man. I think everyone could tell what type of player Nzola was, and that he wouldn't suit Italiano's Fiorentina. It was pretty obvious to me. To you as well.
Yeah.
He's a player who is a counter-attacking threat. He's a weapon. Hold up play for smaller teams. That's the type of guy he is. The fact that they've got so many strikers wrong since Vlahovic, man. So let's just hope they get the manager right this time. Italiano was a fantastic
Italiano
hire,
was brilliant. Italiano was a brilliant hire.
We'll see.
And they got him straight from Spezia.
Straight from
so they saw something in him. And if they're willing to be risky, then even for the storyline and for the fan base and for history, I think Gilardino, not only would he fit that narrative, but also Fiorentina they have the team, barring the strikers, to be a very offensive and attractive team. Gilardino brings that. You see what he does at Genoa with a player like Albert Gudmundsson. The midfield, if he could take Gudmundsson with him, for example, that'd be dirty, man. Dirty or Retegui, for example. I think it opens a lot of doors. I think there are a lot of players at Genoa who could fit in well to this team that respect Gilardino and could even make an upwards move with him. They could experience that together. Hi Rocco, if you're listening, bring Gilardino, please. I think it'll be really cool for the storyline.
It would be sick. It would be very cool, to be honest.
De Rossi would be great as well, but it just feels a little bit weird considering he spent his entire career at Roma and being at Fiorentina.
Yeah. I almost feel like he's only a coach for Roma.
Hey man,
it's like if Roma decide not to renew, he'll stop.
Exactly. Other than that, he had Spal and Italy, but Italy from an assistant manager.
He has a very, of course, that's a joke for those listening. He has a very bright future. He's a crazy good tactician. But yeah.
I feel like Fiorentina, to go back to the game a little bit, were disappointing as shit in this game. But it only comes down to one thing. They're the ideal opponents for Juve.
Yes.
Because Juve allow you to have the ball in Juve's half. And there isn't a team out of the top 10 teams, let's say, that are less fucking creative in the opponent's half than Fiorentina. So they're playing the ball around. Ooh, we're going to get you. And then, there was the strike from distance, the curler by Nico, very well saved by Szczesny. And then there was the opportunity at the end where Nzola got in the way. But other than that, they failed to threaten, man.
Man, they have such intricate passages of play in their own half and at the beginning of the opposition half. But then the second they get to the final third, they have no idea what to do, Fiorentina.
Nothing.
They have no creative. They have no way of getting that ball to the striker.
Nothing, bro.
I like Beltran in that 10 position. I think it would have been better than Barak this game. I thought that he did quite a lot of damage in the game before Beltran. He's very intelligent. But yeah, when it comes to just feeding the strikers, it's a problem they've had since Vlahovic.
Yeah, absolutely. That's it from my end. I mean, an obvious shout out to Gatti and the classic highlighting. Is there?
Yeah, no centre back has scored more goals than Federico Gatti in the top 5 European leagues in 2023-2024.
Congratulations.
Contribution.
Do you know he was a bricklayer up until tired of hearing it? Like
yeah, Messias the delivery man and Gatti the bricklayer.
Exactly.
Like every 3 days it pops
Jokes
up
aside,
on
obviously a fantastic.
It's incredible, but it's milked to oblivion.
Milked. It's an understatement.
Milked. Look at the point you made. I have it written right here, dude. What better team to concede possession to than Fiorentina? They're so unproductive in possession, great at moving the ball around, but struggle to conclude moves, dude. That's wild.
Look at us. We have a podcast. Juve are third on 62 points, 6 behind Milan. Whilst Fiorentina are down in 10th, Jesus, on 43 points, 1 behind Torino. They have a fuck ton of work to do.
Look at that. They have last, what's that, 5-6? 1 win their last 6.
Yeah, they have a game in hand against Atalanta. So if they win that, hearsay, because I don't know if they'll win that, they go up to 46 and they'll be level on points with Lazio in 8th.
And tricky.
Interesting. Meow, meow.
The next game we're going to be covering is Real Madrid City.
What a fucking game, man.
Monza 2, Napoli 4.
Literally, bangers and loads of goals.
Bangers, no mash. Monza lined up with a 3-4-2-1 formation with Michele Di Gregorio on goal, who was so frustrated this game. There was nothing he could do, man. Nothing he could do. Izzo, Mari and Caldirola were at the back, with Birindelli and Zerbin playing on the flanks. Gagliardini and Akpro were playing in the middle. Colpani and Mota were playing behind Milan Juric. For Napoli, it was Meret in goal in their 4-3-3 formation, with Olivero as the left back, Di Lorenzo as the right back, Juan Jesus and Rahmani as a centre-back partnership, with Zielinski, Lobotka and Anguissa in the middle, Gvartskeli on the left wing, Cyril Ngonge on the right wing, and Victor Osimhen up front. So it all started off with a Juric header, a towering Juric header early on in the 9th minute to put Monza ahead. And then speaking of towering header, wait a second. The previous encounter was a 0-0, and if you remember, Pessina missed a penalty.
Yes.
And he was in the Maradona, and there were all the boos.
Meret was like, this guy's crazy.
Exactly. And then at the end, something crazy happened, because Palladino, Mazzarri and Maric all got sent off. I don't quite remember if there was a fight, but Palladino and Mazzarri must have like fought quite aggressively.
Palladino.
Yeah. Yes, and then shortly after Juric's header, Osimhen jumped over the defender to enter the top 10 highest Serie A jumps for a second time in his career, overtaking Cristiano Ronaldo. Fikayo Tomori holds the record over there at first for his goal in the 3-0 victory over Juventus, which, by the way, I rewatched that goal recently just to see the height on it, because you see Ronaldo's jump, the angles they get, that looks like he takes off from this planet and hangs in space for like 2 minutes and then lands. It looks like he jumps so high. Victor Osimhen's also looks like he leaps high, but I thought Ronaldo's looked higher, and I was like, that's weird. And then I looked at Tomori's and I was like, how is
because
this
the angle is from higher up.
Exactly, man. It's all about the angle, but
the manipulation of the nation.
And the size of the defender makes a difference as well. Tomori's goal is still the number one when it comes to, of course, jump height. Yes, Politano and Zielinski went on to score 2 wicked goals. Of course, Politano with a first-time volley, kind of like scissor kick volley. It was mental. Bang into the top corner. It was literally top bins. And then Zielinski was turning and smacking it in off the crossbar. Colpani later on did a few step-overs and bent one into. And then at the end, Raspadori scored the lamest goal of them all.
Almost ruined it.
To ruin the game. He ruined the game, Raspadori, scoring that shit goal. But yes, it was a fantastic game by Napoli, who turned on a show for like 15 minutes where they looked like the defending champions.
Literally, bro, not even 15 minutes. From 55th minute to the 61st minute, Osimhen scored in 55, Politano 57, Zielinski 61. Crazy, all that happened in 6 minutes, man.
Colpani 62.
And Colpani 62.
Well,
no wonder fucking Kendrick was freaking the fuck out. Like, well,
I don't believe what is happening. It was such a good game.
I feel like that's good for Napoli's confidence.
Ngonge started and kind of went under the radar because of how well everyone else played, but he didn't really put a foot wrong this game. At 90% pass accuracy, 33 touches, quite involved. He won most of his duels. He had 2 key passes. Pretty good game for him, Ngonge.
Yeah. I was surprised to see him get the nod ahead of Politano.
Right.
I think that there was a time where Politano was very overrated. I think at this current time, he is very underrated. I think he's very deployable. I think his tira gira is one of the best in the league. And I think his legs are like elastic. I think he's good, man.
He's good. No, Politano's super, and he's been good for a while, but never quite at this level. His Sassuolo days were good, but another level completely.
Last season or the season before, I think the season before, when Chucky Lozano was starting, I couldn't believe it. He's good, sure, but Politano to me brings something else. He brings someone that could also whoop in an early cross.
Yeah,
spot on to Victor Osimhen. But I guess they had Guevara last season. They had Guevara on that side, so maybe they wanted someone a bit more pacey and direct on the other side, right?
I think that Politano can play a very important role for the national team, for example.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Especially with Berardi out injured, if they need bodies over there, Politano's your guy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he knows damn well that Politano's his guy because it's Luciano Spalletti. Yeah.
If you look at the XGs, it tells the full story. 0.26 for Monza, yet they score 2 goals, and 2.59 for Napoli, yet they score 4 goals. One thing I want to point out from this game, Juric had a bit of a difficult time completing 47% of his passes, touching the ball just 26 times. Granted, the way they play with Juric is, they just hoof the ball to him and hope that he wins it in the air. And in fact, he did win most of his aerial duels and his ground duels, but when it came to what he did afterwards, he was really struggling. It was quite tight from Napoli's end.
I mean, they have other players they can bring on to transition and to link up play well in attack. I don't think Juric is that one.
Yeah. I've got the numbers, by the way, of the jump records.
Yay.
So Ronaldo's jump was 256 centimeters. Osimhen's jump was 258 centimeters.
Okay.
And Tomori's was 263 centimeters.
Oh my God.
8.6 feet for the Americans.
Fucking hell.
Yeah. Mental. Yeah, I thought Napoli deserved this. Beautiful game of football. Well done, Napoli.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything else you want to add, but I'm ready to move on personally.
Yep, same here.
Napoli are in 7th with 48 points, while Monza are in 11th with 42 points, and they're pretty much at the beach, right, Monza?
Yeah. Monza, Torino, all these guys. I think these are the teams that can check out a bit earlier in the season. Good for them.
Of course.
Frosinone 0, Bologna 0. Very disappointing result for Bologna. Frosinone, while still being in 18th place, they'll take this as a positive result. The previous encounter was a 2-1 victory for Bologna. Frosinone, 3 draws and 6 defeats in their last 9. They haven't won a game, I think,
since Jesus walked the earth.
Did you see that video of this woman on TikTok playing a prank on her mom, saying, "Oh my God, Jesus was spotted"? Like, where? Show me, show me. Like she has so much faith, bro, that she fully there's no hesitation. Like, where? Show me the video.
She believes in the return of the Messias, the junior Messias.
Bologna 8 wins in their last 9. So on one side you have Frosinone 3 draws and 6 defeats in their last 9. Bologna 8 wins in their last 9. And they were pressing Juve for a third coming into this game. Odgaard, Saumauro and Beukema didn't make the trip, though Zirkzee returned to the starting 11. The host missed Oyono, Gelli, Monterisi, Harrui and Kalaj. 3-4-2-1 formation for Frosinone with Turati in goal, who's been a bit more impressive recently. Backline of Bonifazi, Romagnoli and Ocoli. Valerio on the left, Zortea on the right, and the double pivot of Berenche and Mazzitelli. Trainer and Sule playing behind Khedira. It was a 2-7-2 for Bologna with Skorupski in goal and the backline of Posch, Lukumi, Calafiori and Christiansen. Freuler playing as a regista with Orsolini on the right, Salemakers on the left. A two-man midfield of Ferguson and Derbyshire with Zirkzee playing as a striker.
I feel like, have you had Bologna a lot recently? Because the 2-7-2 there. I feel well
yes,
every week,
bro.
Man.
Yes, I feel like I have Bologna every single fucking week.
I'll take them next week.
I'm just always telling people about this 2-7-2 formation, that they have to look at it vertically. You guys know you've got it wrong, guys. It's a 2-7-2.
It's not a 4-1-4-1. Don't fall for that shit.
So this was a 0-0, so one that we could move relatively quicker on. I do want to bring up that in the 11th minute, Salamakers got a yellow card for planting his studs in the face of Zortea when trying to control the ball. And Kristovic got sent off for a PG version of that versus Milan. Here I have thoughts, and then in brackets, Nani versus Real. But I guess that's
already been discussed.
For this one, I would raise the debate, because it was to the face. For this one, I would raise the debate. There's no argument of him not seeing the ball.
He knew where the man was completely as well. He charged right into him. No, this was a terrible tackle.
I think if it was in the second half, it would have been a straight red card.
It was so early on, 12 minutes in, right? Some referees might hesitate to show a red card 12 minutes in. And I think that was the case here, because that looked like a red to me.
Mm-hmm. Frosinone did very well throughout the game to contain Bologna, to keep it 0-0, not like Frosinone, The only real chance for Bologna to win this game came in the 94th minute, well, their best chance rather. A cross was delivered to the far post by Calafiori, headed to Ndoye, who was right in front of goal. His first attempt hit the crossbar right in front of goal. His first attempt hit the crossbar, and his rebound, where he had an empty net, was skied over the post.
Because he was falling and he didn't want to leave it for his teammate.
He didn't want to leave it for Remo Freuler, who could have just
scored the
tapped it
winner.
in. That was embarrassing. It was embarrassing for him, and he let his team down with that. Obviously, his reaction, his instinct is going to kick in over there. But okay, if that's going to be the case, then score. Because it's inexcusable missing in that situation, right in front of goal with the keeper grounded. Bologna, there's one way I have to describe this performance, I would say, a little bit scared. Scared in the sense that they overcomplicated proceedings on the ball, and they were threatened over the simplest of transitions. Do you think the pressure is getting to them?
No, I wouldn't say the pressure is getting to them. What I would say is that it's crunch time, baby, as we discussed, right? I mean, Frosinone are out here fighting for their lives. I mean, it's true Bologna want Champions League qualification, but there's the whole fact that the players kind of maybe are taking it. I'm not going to go as far as saying they're taking it for granted, but it's more likely that Bologna get Champions League than it is for Frosinone to survive. Frosinone have to work harder to survive, I think, than Bologna have to do to get Champions League at this point. Simply because, Frosinone don't have as much quality. They haven't been doing as well. This is a simple slip-up from Bologna. The performance was good. It was a good performance all round. They were very wasteful. You look at, for example, Castro, I believe, had a big miss as well at one point. They could have easily edged this one out with just a little bit more luck.
I fucking love edging, bro.
Yeah. You love what? Sorry.
So I fucking love edging, bro.
Sorry, I missed it. You have to repeat it.
No worries. I love edging. I love edging.
Yes, I think they're bound to drop a few points here and there. I don't think that this is the start of something detrimental for them.
No, I mean, maybe yes, maybe no. It could very much be the start of a disappointing spell. I do think that they didn't look like their usual selves in this game, and the fact that they didn't flow as hard as they typically do. Chances are going to come against Frosinone. They would have had a few missed chances. But that to me doesn't highlight a good performance. How many clear goal-scoring opportunities did they get? How many touches in the box did they get? I don't think there were many. I think they were slightly hesitant in that regard, and I feel like whenever Frosinone got the ball, they perhaps gave them a little bit too much space to transition and attack. Just a little bit like on edge.
Yeah.
And it could very much be because of Frosinone's press and their attacking play, because we've seen Milan struggle against them with the no Okafor last-minute goal. We've seen Juve struggle against them. We've seen top teams struggle against Frosinone because they're fearless in that sense. So it could be that, or it could be cold feet.
Yeah, they did concede the same amount of shots on target that they took, and they had 5 shots on target each, both teams. The difference in the quality of chances is there, though, with Bologna having an XG of almost 2, so statistically they should have scored. It's 1.96 compared to Frosinone's 0.39. So I had 66% ball possession as well for Bologna. It wasn't terrible, I agree with you, but it wasn't the refined, perfect performance that we've come to grow used to over here. With
That's
Bologna.
That's it. I mean, 8 wins in their last 9. A clean sheet is rare for Frosinone, and I want to highlight Turati.
Oh, yeah.
Turati had an exceptional performance. Turati has been on the up. He's had some tough gigs and tough outings for Frosinone. His goalkeeping style isn't one that I'm typically used to. He's more of an acrobatic goalkeeper than one that positions himself well, but I've seen growth in him recently. We pointed out some specific things he did in the last game to show that. In this game, he had 5 saves, as much as Skorupski, who also had a very good game, but the quality of Turati's saves, I think, were slightly higher. So
Yeah.
just a shout out to Turati.
22-year-old Turati.
Yes, which that makes him 11.
Exactly. He's
in
only 11
Italian
years old.
considering that Gigi Buffon played until he was 84. But I think that's it from this game. To me, Bologna, it's up to them now. It's in their hands. Champions League or no Champions League.
What's their running like?
Let's have a look.
So,
They have... I have it right here.
nice.
So next, they've got Monza home, Roma away. Ooh, we go to fucking Rome, bro.
That's a massive game.
Udinese home, Torino away, Napoli away, Juve home, Genoa away. It's not easy at all.
Not easy at all, but balls in their court. So we'll see. And on Frosinone, on the other hand, while we're at it, let's take a look at their running. I'm just making you sweat here, bro.
Sweat, baby, sweat. I wanna make you wet. Let's see. What am I doing?
I don't know.
Frosinone, they have Napoli away, Torino away, Salernitana home, Empoli away, Inter home, Monza away, Udinese home. They have a lot of relegation 6-pointers left. That is Salernitana relegation 6-pointer for them, not really for Salernitana. That makes no difference. Empoli relegation 6-pointer and Udinese relegation 6-pointer. So that's
9 points, no? 3 if they have 3. Yeah.
18 points because there's 6-pointers.
Oh, bro's fucking playing 5D chess over there. Yeah, that's a man. I just can't wait till the end of the season. Let's talk more watching. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So up next, Empoli. Whoa. Sorry, I'm very excited about this one. You don't blame me.
Cut. Frosinone are in 18th on 26 points, 1 behind Hellas Verona, 2 behind Empoli, 2 behind Udinese. I could go on all day. Whilst Bologna find themselves in 4th on 58 points, 3 ahead of Roma, and just 4 behind Juve. Correct.
Brilliant. The moment I've been waiting for. It's Empoli 3, Torino 2. Crazy. Empoli scoring 3 goals, Torino conceding 2 goals. It's 3 goals, sorry. It's absolutely crazy. Something that hasn't really happened this season at all. I can't remember Torino conceding 3 and I can't remember Empoli scoring 3.
I mean, did you check to see if Torino's players all have a tan yet?
No. They to be fair, Sanabria does look a little bit tanned, but it's pretty normal, you know. I'm sure they've been hitting the beach, but they do have Conference League aspirations, as we discussed last week.
I mean, to a degree.
To a degree.
To a degree.
So in goal was Vanja Milinkovic-Savic, who was a little bit sus this game, could have done much better on most of these goals. Rodriguez, Bongiorno and Tameze were at the back in a 3-4-1-2 formation with Voivoda and Bellanova out wide, with Linetti and Ricci playing as the centre midfield pairing, with Vlasic in the pocket behind Sanabria and Duvan Zapata. For Empoli, it was a 3-4-2-1 formation with Caprile in goal, Berzinski, Valukovic and Luperto at the back. In your head, you did it, eh?
Yeah.
Back heel! Oh my goodness! Squire Alla with a moment of magic! So Jazi on the right with Pezzella on the left, Marin and Bastoni as the centre midfield pairing, with Zurkowski and Cambiaghi playing behind Alberto Cherry.
You said Vlasic in the pocket. The only thing in my pocket is this fucking fava bean. The only thing in my pocket.
The only thing I'll ever have. And I'm not even going to carry money with me anymore. I'm just going to keep this bean, bro.
Literally. I want to get it implanted as a mole on my body. Jake said he wants to eat it, but that's not very smart, Jake, considering...
You should get it along with the other moles on your neck.
Oh my god, dog. They're 2 really small skin tags. Guys, I don't have moles. If you have moles, it's fine, as in, don't worry.
So yes, in the 6th minute, Cambiaghi scored a rocket. Now, I was surprised to learn that this was his first goal of the season.
Yes.
I feel like, hasn't he scored it this year? It's weird.
I mean, like, apparently not, but I'm very much Like you in that
I was
sense.
shocked. But what a goal it was.
Very nice goal.
Top bins,
Very nice
powerful shot. In the 60th minute, Zapata got an equalizer after a corner by Voivoda. Zapata in these situations is a nightmare.
He's a bull.
He's a bull, bro. In the 74th minute, Cancellieri had a bullet into the bottom corner. Empoli were attacking in numbers over here, and his teammates, I think, would have killed him if it hadn't gone in, because he had quite a few teammates in space. Good work by Mbaye and Young to start this all off. What a difference to Jerry, this guy.
Those were the three players involved in this attack, in this goal, were three fresh substitutes who came on just 4 minutes before that.
The Davide Nicola effect.
The
Probably
Davide
whispered in
Nicola
their ear.
effect.
It was like, football is more than just a game.
Go!
Do you know what I've been through? Do you know what happened to me? But yeah, in the 91st minute, Zapata equalized after Bellanova's cross, of course, Il Nostro Treno. Cheeky vibes in the celebration with Duvan Zapata sticking his tongue out and pointing his fingers. They were being really cheeky with it, but then in the 94th minute, Bellanova went from hero to zero as he tried to guide the ball out of play for a goal kick, but was robbed by Kakache, who showed good hustle, and he played the ball to Nyang, who converted his first open play goal of the season, however his fourth goal of the season since joining halfway through the season.
Bellanova, I want to go through your texts and see what you've been involved in. That's so unlike him to make a mistake like that.
But that's what you get when you deal with players who haven't had many full seasons under their belts. He's still a young guy. I mean, he had a spell in France. He was at Inter. He didn't get much playing time. He went to Cagliari. He played a bit. He played half a season. In reality, this is his first real full season as a protagonist. So he's going to have these moments. He's exceeded expectations when it comes to his performances. But a moment like this is just a shame because the way it happened, he was devastated after. And you can see Vanja Milinkovic-Savic consoling him, when in reality, he probably needed someone to console him, the goals he let in this game.
It's true. I said I want to look through his phone and scratch that, guys. I really don't.
Yeah.
Because I might see Chiellini naked again.
Exactly.
That can I just
For those who don't know.
For those of you that don't know, man. Bellanova used to play for Milan, right? He was part of the youth system, and once Milan were playing against Juve in pre-season, so he got to meet his idol Ronaldo. So he was quick to go to the Juve changing rooms after the game to take a photo with Ronaldo. He handed his phone to someone, like, take a photo of me with Ronaldo, bro. This person took a photo of Bellanova with Ronaldo. He posted it immediately onto Instagram without realizing that Chiellini was at the back of the photo, stark fucking naked, with his huge dick just hanging out, man. I think that is the funniest thing ever, man.
It's so funny and so terrible for Chiellini. Can you imagine? What the hell? He posted that.
His phone just started going off. I was like, Giorgio, bro, there's your dick on Instagram.
This whole thing of cameras being in the dressing room, man. Sometimes even when you're watching a game like on TV or like Paramount and they get some behind the scenes footage, like it's risky, man. It's risky, the things you see. But yeah, like,
we've all been in changing rooms before, and it's a bit weird in changing rooms, man. Weird, like I was in changing rooms playing football when we were going through puberty. The things I saw, guys, in those fucking changing rooms. It's like a competition of who has the most pube. You can't imagine.
Yeah. Max, our guest on the Milan special and the host of Bite to Bacon, had said that when he was a player, the guys would always give themselves a tug, before taking a shower. It's a tug too,
Of course. When you look a bit thick, like.
Yeah. Yeah, so Vanja wasn't great. Sanabria could have done better with a few chances in the first half. He was quite wasteful. I mean, there weren't any real clear opportunities, but we're used to him doing better. Torino dominated, but Empoli were totally clinical. And this was a much better game than the 1-0 in the previous encounter, which saw Duvan Zapata scoring as well. So that's his third goal against Empoli this season. That game...
Bellanova assist.
And Bellanova assist as well, wow. That game in the reverse fixture had 2 disallowed goals for Empoli. One through Ebuehi and the other one through Kakache. So this game could be labelled as Kakache's revenge.
Libby's
revenge.
Libby's revenge. Similarly to Cagliari, I mean, Davide Nicola, people who don't think what he's doing right now with Empoli isn't worth hyping about in the same way people hyped about what he did at Crotone, what he did at Salernitana. Madonna, go back to episode 8, 9, 10, where Empoli were dead last and fucking dog shit.
They had scored like 1 goal through Baldanzi in the first 7 matches.
They were awful. What he's doing now, okay, it wasn't in the last couple of games of the season. It wasn't in the last 8 games of the season, although it's so tight that it will have to go across the last 8 games of the season. But this is just as impressive what he's doing right now, because much like Cagliari, Empoli aren't a team that if you look at their team, you say, wow, this is a Serie A team. Because you can't look at them and say these are Serie A players, every single one of them.
They're actually one of the worst, I think, man for man.
Yes.
They're probably the worst. I think there are teams in Serie B that have a better starting 11 than this.
They've got Cherry up front. They've got Pezzella on the left.
Even the fact that like their key players like Simone Bastoni starting in the middle has been so off ever since being a protagonist for Spezia.
Yeah.
Razva Marin, after being a protagonist at Cagliari, has been quite off as well himself.
Nyang is their guy.
Yeah, Jazzy plays for them.
Yeah.
Honestly, you're absolutely right. Man for man, they're one of the worst in the league, and they currently stand in 16th with 28 points, while Torino are in 9th with 44 points.
Verona 1, Genoa 2. Is this the last game, or do you have one
there's
more
one.
after that? Yes, of course.
There's a weird one after this.
Yeah. Previous encounter was another Genoa victory, score of 1-0. Hellas had dragged themselves out of the bottom 3 with a recent run of 7 points from 4 rounds, where they only lost to Milan. Genoa were without a win in 4 and had top striker Retegui sitting out a ban, plus Malinovski, Vitinha, Cittadini and Maturo injured. Magnani was suspended and Juan Manuel Cruz injured for Hellas. 4-4-2 formation for Verona with Montepo in goal and a backline of Cabal, Davidovic, Coppola and Madonna. Centonze. Hi, Centonze.
Fabian Centonze.
Hi, I'm Fabian.
Okay, I'm gonna do some googling on this guy while you go on.
Lazovic on the left, Suslov on the right with Serdar and Duda as the double pivot, with Tiani Noslin and Bonazzoli starting up top together. Bonazzoli, good to see you, bro. 3-5-2 formation for Genoa with Martinez in goal and a backline of De Winter, Bani and Vasquez. Sabelli on the right, Haps on the left, and a midfield 3 of Junior Messias, Badel and Frendrup. Goodmanson and Ekuban starting up front together.
So this Fabian Centosa, his name totally isn't Centosa, by the way, because he's French.
Oh my god, his name's actually Fabian.
Yes.
I thought you were joking, because when we were forgetting a certain someone's name in Sardegna, we just kept on referring to him as Fabian.
No, Ferdinand.
Ferdinand.
So, this guy was quite a key player at Metz, apparently, between 2019 and 2022. He's played for Lens as well. He's played for Nantes. He's got quite a few games under his belt. He's 28 years old. He's French. He's a right back and he's 6 feet tall.
Hi, Centonze. Verona opened the scoring in the 8th as Lazovic released a high ball over the top past the line of defence, where Martinez committed prematurely and Bonazzoli took it around him with a brilliant touch before finishing into an empty net, and subsequently bomb by Bonazzoli. Good to see him get a goal over there, and he took it brilliantly, really well.
The pass
by Lazovic. Haven't been too impressed by Lazovic this season, as opposed to like last season, where at this time he really started performing.
Crunch time.
Crunch time. In the 20th minute, Vasquez's looping header bounced off the crossbar. It's one of those where you're like surprised it hits the crossbar because it's like really not a promising one. In the 44th, Ekuban probably scored the goal of the year. No, I'm kidding. Ekuban scored, but it was weird. Hups played a low cross to Ekuban, who slid in but failed to make contact. But don't worry, because it hit Lazovic, hit Ekuban, and rolled into the back of the net. So spectacular. Would you celebrate that if you, like, yes, eh?
Of course. Now the thing is,
I might take my shorts off like Vucinic.
Inzaghi would have grabbed the corner flag. Dude, Ekuban, the thing is, while he was disappointed that he missed the ball, he saw it going in off him at the same time. So it was just a roller coaster of emotions.
And if you're a manager, like Ekuban scored, but you see the manner in which he scored, do you count the goal in your head?
Every single goal counts.
Okay.
There have been players who have 300 goals, and they're all low quality goals in inverted commas. It doesn't really matter, you know. What matters is that you're scoring. Yeah.
Goal. Goodmanson got his inevitable goal in the 57th, tapping in after Montepò denied a brilliant solo effort by Vasquez. That's his 12th goal this season. And Verona thought they got an equalizer in the 70th through Swiderski, only for the goal to be disallowed as Mitrovic rather was offside in the build-up. But I mean, Verona put in a shift. Verona, at the moment, out of the bottom tier sides that are fighting relegation, to me look the best.
They're the best ones, yes.
Definitely. I think
they're the most organized. They're the most... Yeah, that's it. They're the most organized.
And even like they almost got a draw over here if it weren't for someone being a couple of like a literal heel offside. Before this, I mean, they had a recent run of 7 points from 4 rounds, where their only loss was against Milan. In the relegation 6-pointers, they're always the ones that typically come out on top. Yet they find themselves naturally in 17th on 27 points, just a point ahead of Frosinone. But I'm going to need to pull out their fixtures now, because I was about to say that I'm confident that they'll stay up this season.
Yes, they have. I have them here if you want. They have Atalanta next, Atalanta at home. Then they take on Udinese at home. Then Lazio away, Fiorentina away, Torino away, Salernitana. Sorry.
Torino home.
Yes, please.
Salernitana away, and then Inter home. That's a fucking tough run-in. But again, some very key fixtures.
The Udinese one, the Salernitana,
and the Torino one at home.
Yes.
Because think about it, if Torino lose that game, what happens?
The world explodes.
If Verona lose that game, what happens? Very, very fucking different. So Verona will bleed in that game, whereas Torino won't.
It's true. They'll probably be playing for nothing, Torino. So, but that could also give you the opportunity to just, sit back and frustrate them if you're Torino. I think it was Cagliari once who had stopped. No, Hellas Verona, I think, who had nothing to play for, and they stopped Napoli from qualifying.
Yes, it was Verona.
It's a whole thing, Fatal Verona, no? So let's see if they get Fatal Verona themselves. Fatal Torino. A fun fact for you is, have you ever noticed what Haps's first name is?
No.
Ridgeciano. Ridgeciano.
Very interesting.
Ridgeciano Haps.
Where's he from?
It's a fantastic question. The Amalfi Coast. Let's see. Ridgeciano Haps. He is... Come on. Tell me here. Oh, God.
Born in the Netherlands, he plays for the Suriname national team.
Okay, I'm not recognizing the flag. Look at that. I'm like, what's that?
Yeah, that's quite a tough one. A tough one. I don't have too many more points to add about this game.
Sure, we can move on to the next.
Fantastic. Let me just say where they are in the table. Verona, like I already mentioned, are in 17th on 27 points, just a point above Frosinone. whilst on the other hand, Genoa are in 12th on 38 points on an island, pretty much.
Yes. So, yes. So,
Yes,
Colantuono's Salernitana took on the Sassuolo of Ballardini and it finished 2-2. The reverse fixture was Dionisi's Sassuolo taking on Inzaghi's Salernitana, and the score was also 2-2. So, great strides made here by both sides. For this game, Salernitana lined up in a 4-3-3 formation, channeling their inner Napoli. Costil was in goal with Pierozzi as the right back, Brotheric as the left back, and Pirola and Manolas as the centre back partnership, with Koulibaly, Maggiore, and Iron Gomis in midfield, or Ian Gomis.
Iron Mike Tyson.
Chauna and Kandreva were on the wings, while Chukwubuikem Nkumezi was playing up front. For Sassuolo, it was a 4-2-3-1 formation with Consigli in goal, Toljan and Doig as the fullbacks, with Ferrari and Erlich at the back, Thorstvedt and Boloka as the double pivot, with Laurionte and Defrel on the wings. Pinamonti started ahead of Bayrami, who was in the pocket, like my fava bean. Pinamonti scored offside in the 28th minute, and then in the 37th minute, Bayrami played Lauriente through as they had advantage in numbers against Manolas, and Lauriente finished very well. In the 44th minute, Costil tried to play the ball to Pirola, who didn't quite make himself available, and the ball was intercepted by Pinamonti, who squared it to Bayrami to get his second goal of the season. In the 52nd minute, Doig was penalised for a soft foul on Pierozzi. Kandreva stepped up and took the penalty. Did you see this? Did you see the foul? It was really soft, bro. Literally, Pierozzi just waited for the ball, turned, and as he turned, he clipped, Doig himself. Like, he literally ran into him. And yeah, the referee
played for it.
Yeah, literally, he totally played for it. Lauriente missed two good opportunities in a row after this, and then in the 91st minute, Vignato played an amazing pass to Zanoli. It was helped a little bit by Lauriente, and Zanoli squared it to Maggiore, who equalized. Pinamonti had a good opportunity at the death. He tested Costil, but if he had just looked to his left or had the presence of mind to know where his teammate was, he could have set him up in a one-on-one situation.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm going to start off by saying that I'm surprised that Ballardini got a 2-0 lead and threw it against Salernitana. That's so surprising to me.
Same.
I think they could have killed the game off, Sassuolo. They were better for the majority of the game, but I think that at times, man, they still have this problem of selfishness, which is ridiculous at this stage in the season when they're so close to the bottom and they don't play their teammates.
Literally, bro. It's super disappointing. Even the fact, you just look at the stats of this game. They had 16 shots. 16 shots to Salernitana's 5, and Salernitana still managed to get the equalizer at the end. It's just, like you said, Pinamonti just playing that pass at the end. You know what I mean?
And the thing is, he had already picked out
for the
teammate.
shirt. Yeah. Play for the shirt, man.
Yeah. And he had picked out Bayrami really well earlier on. I mean, he had to. If he didn't there, he would have literally just told the world, I'm a big dodo. Like, I'm an idiot. He would have thought, I'm a trunky. Like,
I'm a big doo-doo shit.
Yeah. So, yes, this game ended in 2-2, which Sassuolo will regret. Epically, massively, because this was their 3 points. This was their chance to get a win. I mean, Salernitana have just been handing them out at the moment, but they did look a little bit better. Salernitana, it almost seems like at this point they're playing without pressure.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it is, right? They've secured a manager that is getting ready to manage them in Serie B. That's all the signing of Colantuono was. I mean, that's pretty much it. And for a team like Sassuolo, like, do you now believe that Sassuolo are going to get relegated now after they drop points to Salernitana? Because I feel like we keep on saying that, like, they're going to pick it up and they're too good to get relegated, so on and so forth. I think they're going to get relegated personally. But it's more of an attitude problem by them, which is the biggest concern. But the thing is, it has gotten as bad almost as it could get. Because Salernitana are the only team that's below them. And they could have gotten 3 points against them, and they didn't fucking manage, man.
Yeah.
And they're simply not getting points.
Dire, man. Their last victory was against Fiorentina in January, man.
Madonna. And it's against Fiorentina.
No, sorry. They beat Frosinone. But 1-0 on Frosinone. Their last few games, so now they have to play Milan, and then Lecce, then Fiorentina, then Inter, then Genoa, then Cagliari, then Lazio. So again, I don't know, man. We'll have to see how they adapt. I mean, a lot of things can change, but until the very last match of the season. So we'll see. At the moment, it's looking dire for them. I would still be surprised if they got relegated. However, they do have one thing missing that the other teams have, man. We talk about this a lot, but it makes a massive difference, man. They don't have the push of the fans.
Yeah.
Imagine Cagliari taking on Atalanta without the backing that they had in that stadium, man.
It would have never happened.
It would have never happened. They would have lost 5-0.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It
makes a massive difference.
We say it a lot, but
when you look up and the only fans you have are all the schools in Reggio Emilia, because they brought the kids out on an outing. They're like, Sassuolo!
Once a season, like.
Once a season.
But what game was it, bro? Was it this one? Were they away? Sassuolo in this game?
This game?
Did you see their away fans?
Yes, it was this game. It was this game.
I promise to all of you, I counted 7. I promise to all of you, it was like they were just having a little picnic at the stadium. Like, they were all capable of holding the same Sassuolo banner. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
Yeah. It's a shame because they're in a populated area. The problem is their stadium is outside of the city, the main region in the city. It's quite far. And the fact that Sassuolo were pretty much non-existent for a while means that most people there already support the likes of Milan, Inter, Juve.
Or Bologna.
All right, we're done.
Where are they, G?
Where are they, G? So, Sassuolo won before the last, Salernitana last. When you look at the points, flash score is loading, free ad. Salernitana have 15 points, while Sassuolo have 25 points.
Thank you very much, guys, for listening to this. We also have the watch along tomorrow, so make sure to tune into that to watch Milan Roma with us. It will be fun.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have a few drinks and this
course.
and that.
Just
like
getting beer,
it'll be a fun one. Time to get Excel because summer is coming. But yes, thank you very much if you've made it this far, guys. Quite a long episode. That's 2 hours and 16 minutes. So thank you to all of you. We love you, and we'll see you next week.